and there's football. I shall call it Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for all things football. The Fan. Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lesmerises joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on the final Football Friday. This is it, boys. This is a wrap. We won't have games again. Listen, you're going to count the preseason games. Those are going to count. When we get to August, you're going to be all jacked up for those. But from now until then, this is it. And no, I'm not going to be paying it. Is it UFL, XFL? What is it?
UFL, baby.
UFL in the spring. Yeah, I'll be sitting that out likely. This is it for me. I can use a break. It's a lot of football. That Buckeye run, the NFL run. It's going to be February 9th. It'll be Super Bowl Sunday. I'm excited for it, but at the same time, like, football season is a monster. It is an absolute monster. It never really stops. The college game continues to go with the off-field stuff. The NFL really doesn't stop. Think about this. You've got the Super Bowl on Sunday. Then you've got kind of like 2 weeks, and then the entire league reconvenes in Indianapolis at the end of the month. For the scouting combine. And then you're on to free agency in March. You're on to the draft at the end of April. You're on to mini camps in May and early June. And the reality of it is it's all been engineered that way because of the NFL Network and because of TV. And they're talked about kind of year round. And eventually I'm sure they'll get to 18 games, and we'll be playing this one on President's Day weekend instead of the first full weekend in February. It's basically turned into an American holiday. The Super Bowl has. I mean, it's kind of the one thing that we all do. You're talking about there'll be over 100 million people will watch this game on Sunday. There's nothing else in this country on an annual basis that delivers that type of interest. The Super Bowl party, we had fun yesterday with the Super Bowl snacks that will be there. As you can imagine, there's one person in my house who is so excited for the Super Bowl they can't even stand it. That, of course, would be Bootsy. Why, you ask? Because his favorite meal for his birthday meal is snacks. That's what he chooses. So he basically just gets his apex life on Sunday because it's basically just snacks. So it's home run for him in that perspective. But yeah, it's become something of an American tradition to do this over the last now 59 years. Crazy how it started into what it's evolved into. My entire life, and I'm a man and I'm in my 40s, and it's always been the biggest deal in the year. There's no point where it hasn't been. You probably have to be in your 60s or 70s to remember a time where the Super Bowl wasn't the biggest deal of the year. One thing that I did notice this week was, in conjunction with the NFL honors, I did notice NFL players weaponizing Super Bowl week, and two of them in our own backyard. We've never had, to my knowledge, and I've asked a lot of folks about this, we've never had anybody do what Myles Garrett did on Monday. Just show up at Super Bowl week and flirt with other teams and openly talk about other teams while still under contract with his current team. I don't know. There's no precedent for that I've seen. So that's new. That's a new one. Usually Super Bowl Media Row is in Radio Row and those type of things. It's old guys selling stuff. This wasn't an old guy selling stuff. This was not an old legend selling stuff. This was the best defensive player in the game going to New Orleans to make sure it was known that he did not want to continue to play for the Cleveland Browns. Never mind the fact that he's under contract for 2 more years, and it's virtually impossible to trade him because of the way when you restructure those contracts, the idea in those is you're giving them money straight up, and in exchange for that, there's an understanding that you're not trading them because otherwise it's a monster cap hit. The other thing we saw was Burrow. Joe Burrow. flat out doing a media tour this week down at the Super Bowl and saying, oh, yeah, we can sign them all. The cap's going to keep going up. We can sign them all. We can bring back Trey. He even brought up Mike Gesicki. He wants Chase, Higgins, Hendrickson, and Gesicki. Putting the pressure on ownership. We want them. Cap's going to keep going up. We want them all back. When we did my deal, we can restructure it. The problem is, and whether you choose to believe him or not, the Brown family will tell you that they are not liquid and they do not have an ability to put that money into escrow and translate that into signing bonus and guaranteed money and pay it up right away. The reality of this is, and this is just one of the things that's just true about the league, the ownership in the league where their wealth comes from the NFL team does not have the liquidity that folks like the Haslams have. Or folks like Shad Khan has. That type of liquid where you made your billions somewhere else and now you're doing this on top of it, that's how you're able to do those things. The reality is if Joe Burrow were a Cleveland Brown, and I didn't mean to like how painful all that is.
God, you're such a tease.
But if he were, and if Jamar Chase was a Cleveland Brown and Jesse Bates were a Cleveland Brown, the Haslams would have sorted all that out.
It's like Spalding at the turn asking Judge Schmales, I want a milkshake and a hamburger. You'll get nothing like it.
Bengals and Browns fans everywhere both just drove off the road for exactly different reasons.
Well, there's no question. Like you're a Bengals fan out there. You're going, if we had Haslam ownership, then we don't have a problem with any of this because we'll restructure all the deals, and we're able to keep everybody. But they don't. There's a cap on it. So what I'm curious about is if this will now become the norm, if NFL players will use Super Bowl week as, and kind of for lack of a better term, as a player empowerment era of the NFL. Now, in order to have player empowerment, you can really only be a quarterback. Miles is probably on a short list of position players who can truly hold feet to the fire. There aren't many out there because of the non-guaranteed structure of the contracts, but Miles is probably one of them. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, like those type of players. And then the quarterbacks, they can. But this is a new one. We've never seen this before, fellas. We've never seen players go on media row and radio row, current players, and use it as a conduit to ownership. We've never seen that.
Yeah, I'm all for it, just so long as it doesn't creep into the kind of power that NBA players can wield. I don't think they'll ever get to that point, but it was very player empowering from not only those two, but from what you've seen from other guys. Just in terms of using the media more and more and more and more and more. And this being probably the week that there's more eyeballs on the product than anything, they're out here just letting it fly.
I go back and I think of like Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson and how it seemed like they didn't want to play for the Lions anymore, so they ended up just retiring. If that would be different, if we would have got more of those guys, if these kinds of things would have been available to them and they would have used them in that way.
That's a good point on those two Lions. They were just kind of like, not that I'm tired of playing, I'm just tired of playing for you. And there wasn't any real way out of it for either of them. I don't think you're ever going to get there in the NFL. Not like the NBA. I think that quarterbacks can do it. Quarterbacks can hold franchises hostage a little bit if they want to, elite ones. But usually they're compensated and taken care of, so it never comes to that. That's the thing that's so interesting about Burrow and why I've taken such note of what he said over the last month. Like, he's saying it out loud. We need to keep them all. And I don't know how. I really don't. And I'm sure that the Brown family's feeling similarly. Okay, Joe, how? Maybe they need to sell some of that team for private equity so they can get an influx of cash. Who knows? We know they've talked about that in the past. Maybe that's the answer, but they need an influx of cash in a big way.
I wonder
to make all these things work.
If they've ever given him the pie talk, like actually to his face. Like, I know Mike Brown does it in front of the media because I think it's one of those things where he thinks he's just smarter than everybody he talks to there. But would anybody in management or ownership have the chutzpah to go to Joe, to his face, say, well, you see, Joe, there's a pie.
Mike Brown would.
You've taken up this much of our pie, and look how much we have left. That's not enough for everybody.
Mike would. You remember him in that trench coat on the golf cart pulling Joe over?
You think that was it was like when a dad has a conversation of the birds and bees with his kid. Mike
That's
Brown's
when it
giving
happens.
Joe the pie talk.
That's exactly what it happens. We're loaded up on Super Bowl Sunday to get you set. 9 to 11 on the money with Bids and Scotty Vegas. 11 to noon, the Fan Collins Show with Bake and Vegas. And then noon to 1, the Fan Sports Sunday Show, the Fan Warm-Up Show from 1 to 1:15. Ohio State Network pregame at 1:15. Ohio State at Nebraska at 2. Then on the money, big game special from 5 to 6. Super Bowl 59 pregame coverage starts at 6. And then the coverage of the game at 6:30 right here on the Fan. Lots more on the big game as we go along over the next 3 hours. Coming up next, a hit and a miss last night in Old Columbus Town, and a hell of a shot from Bruce Thornton that's going to potentially be as big a one you're going to have all season long. That's coming up next. We're off and running on a Football Friday, the last one. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and common man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction. And if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Tri-State Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Mark your calendars for Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend, February 21st and 22nd. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Seller. Wedding Weekend is back with incredible offers you won't want to miss. Join us for buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. We've had the guaranteed best price for over 78 years. So choose a jeweler you can trust and come see us February 21st and 22nd at Diamond Seller on Salmo Road or at Easton Town Center.
Common Man and T-Bone here. Bone, did you know that the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus has over 30 TVs, 2 massive video walls? They even have recliners, a full-service bar and restaurant, a betting counter, and over 30 kiosks?
I did know that, but I also know that you can reserve a table right now at Hollywood Casino Columbus at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook and guarantee your spot and get some game day swag while you do it. Just visit hollywoodcolumbus.com/casino/sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Insulate your home and start saving on energy costs with Owens Corning Foamular Insulation. These panels are moisture resistant and rugged enough to be used above and below ground. Plus, these pink panels are available in many different sizes and thicknesses to fit any project. Save big on Owens Corning Foamular Insulation. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
We've all got it, you know, that one crazy thing you've always wanted to do, that bucket list goal. Then a cancer diagnosis, and that one thing still goes according to plan. I would know I'm getting my first tattoo right now, while my 3 beautiful daughters laugh hysterically at me. 58 years old, 4 years of cancer-free checkups at Ohio Health. Go ahead and get a picture, girls. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans.
Morning Juice.
I went to probably less than 10% of my math classes and straight through with a B-. My mom's like, "You're getting B- in math?" I'm like, "I only went to class like twice."
Morning Juice is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Weekday mornings at 6. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Tracking the sunshine out there today, high temperatures will be around 35. Increasing clouds tonight, and it is cold with a low of 26. We are tracking the chance of some freezing rain heading into your Saturday. Impacts will be worse between about 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
13 on the shot clock in a tie game at 70. Thornton now below center circle. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Thornton moves to the right point. Thornton dribbling right to the key. 5 on the shot clock. Thornton throws a 3 right to the key. Banks it in. Bruce Thornton with 7.4 seconds to play. 31 for Bruce Thornton, and Ohio State leading 73-70. How about that?
How about that from Big Daddy there? No, it was a game. You're trailed the entire game. You don't take the lead until late. I'm sitting here watching the game last night. Watched both that one and the Blue Jackets. I love the 2 screen, so you had them both kind of going at the same time. As I'm watching the game, I'm just staring at the Buckeyes record because it's on the screen, on the score, and I'm staring at 5-6 in the league, and 13-9. Were they 13-8 or 13-9 going into last night? 13-9, I think. And you're staring at that, and you're saying to yourself, that can't go to 13-10, and that cannot go to 5-7. I don't know if you can dig out of that in terms of trying to get to the big dance. And I think the big dance is so critical for Jake this year in his first full year as head coach. Not just for these kids who have been around, and the personification of that, obviously, is Bruce Thornton, who's been here forever, it seems like, and had his signature game as a Buckeye last night in a game that I think was a must-win. If you wanted to make the tournament, I think you had to have it at home. You trail the entire game. You finally take the lead late, and then he hits that clutch 3 that you just heard. I thought they had to have it. I really did. I didn't know if there was a scenario where you're going to make the postseason if you slid to 2 games under 500 in Big Ten play. It's just too big of a hole to dig out of. And Jake was available post-game and had some thoughts on all of that. Let's start with the conversation about the toughness and the fight his team showed.
I just want you to understand how connected and tough this group is. We have really preached that from day one, and I thought that was on full display tonight. Maybe we lacked a little bit of that early, but it took everything we had from a toughness and a togetherness thing to come back, win this game against a really good team who's arguably playing some of the best basketball in the league right now. I'm so thankful for players stepping up and making plays. How about that?
Emotional, right? And it should be. You can hear it in his voice. He knew it was at stake. 5-7 in the league, tough to dig out of. 6-6. Remember, we said we went over that 5-game stretch. 4-1, and you're cooking. You're cooking with gas at 4-1. Even 3-2. Okay, we can work with that. Anything less, and to lose one at home, it's just another metric. It's a ranked win at home. It's revenge from what they did to you over there. It feels like it could be a monster win for them last night, and that could reverberate for the rest of the month here.
Yeah, quad 1, baby. And on a night when Junie Mobley was not shooting well, you got that 31, that Herculean performance from Bruce when it was like 13-2. At one point in the first half. I'm like, I don't think this is going to go really poorly, but they fought their asses off. They had to bring it within like 8 or 9 going into half. And then in the second half, they were, like you said, with like 2 minutes left to go, Bruce hits another 3 assisted by Junie Mobley to give them the lead. And the way they were able to just close that game out, like that's a good Maryland team. And so that's going to be a great notch on the belt for this basketball Buckeye squad when you're looking at resume. Like it's just hang on to the bubble at this point. And now, as long as you're hanging on, you got a month. You got a month left in this fight.
Yeah.
And that was a hell of a performance. Because I knew this team was good. They won a game at Mackey Arena. That's always like my barometer for teams. Are you good? Did you beat Purdue at Mackey? Yes.
Yeah, right.
So make something of this. And they did last night.
I was at the Blue Jackets game last night, so I did not see any of the game, but I was checking in on it. And I checked in at one point. It was early in the second half, and Ohio State was down. I think it was 8 to 10 points, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and it was like Bruce Thornton had 14 or 12, and Junie Mobley had 8. And then I checked back in. I had forgot to check back in, so I checked back in at the end, and they had won. And I was like, oh, man. Mobley and Thornton must have went off. Well, Thornton still did, sure did, but Mobley had not done anything since then. He still had 8 points. So that was even more encouraging to me that they were able to do that. And it seemed like almost a one-man show with Bruce. And disappointing that you still get nothing out of the bigs. No Aaron Bradshaw. Maybe the way this team's going to have to play is Evan Mahaffey being an undersized guy, getting in there and scrapping it up a little bit.
This is not the team that Jake Diebler anticipated having.
No.
This is not the team that they recruited to. Still nothing. I mean, Michi's been, I assume he's never coming back. He's been gone since December. Bradshaw's been in and out. I mean, this is not the roster they thought he would have, but you don't hear him complain about it. You got 4 guys who play 30-plus every single night. Thornton played all 40 last night, 34 out of Royal, 36 out of Micah, 32 out of Mobley. We said you needed 50.5 to beat Maryland was the number we came up, remember, yesterday from Mobley, Royal, and Thornton. They ended up with 46, but Parrish got you 13. So that's where that can kind of be made up a little bit. No, I thought it was spectacular that it was Bruce, who's been here and been through the wars and knows what it would mean to get to the postseason and what the big dance would mean for the program. Bruce was available post-game. Talked a little bit about the monster game and what motivated him.
We just needed to just win. We got a ranked opponent in our house, and we came short a couple times. And I just told our guys just to keep shooting wide open shots, just keep making plays. And we got a lot of gamers on our team, so they made big-time plays over and over again, even though we had mistakes. So they just moved on to the next play and showed up as a win.
Next time out, the Buckeyes Sunday, as I mentioned earlier in the program, at Nebraska in Lincoln. That's at 2 o'clock is the tip on that. The fan pregame starts at 1. You mentioned this, Bake. You were at the Blue Jackets game last night, lose to Utah in overtime. I wanted to ask you from your vantage point, the fight that led to the 2 5-minute majors and then the 2-minute roughing. Dean Evison was not pleased with that at all. The injuries on this team are very real. He's not going to want to hear any of that. You know that from Dean. He's not going to want any part of it. From what I could tell, Elvis played really, really strong in this game. And sometimes this is just the way that this league works a little bit. Weren't a lot of opportunities in the first to get it going. And they win the game in overtime. You get the point out of it, but you get the overtime winner for Utah. What were your impressions last night, Beck?
So it's funny that you mentioned the fight. I don't say this very often. That was a boring hockey game last night. Like the first 2 periods, there was no energy from either squad. I was sitting there last night and I was talking to Brian Wallace, who writes for The Undrafted, and it was probably 2 minutes before that fight happened. And I looked at him and I was like, you think we just need to have Olivier go out there and run someone to like get some energy in this game?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I was just thinking that same thing. And then Putia gets hit and Severson steps up. And obviously they not only kill the penalty, they get the shorthanded goal. And then the third period was way different than the first 2 periods. I don't know why these games with Utah, they're just very lackluster. Like neither team really seems to have any juice. And you mentioned Elvis. Elvis deserved a lot better last night.
I would say. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like the last goal by Utah, obviously when Gunther gets his own rebound there, one-on-one with Elvis, it did make me appreciate 3-on-3 hockey because you're right. Like those 3 periods were. Most of my eyes were on the basketball Buckeyes as they're clawing their way back in the second half, and then the 3-on-3 hockey happens, and you almost can't take your eyes off of it. So I appreciate having that because anything can happen, and a rebound can become a game-winning goal. This for the Jackets, your takeaway is you get a point, and you got one more, I think, Saturday against the Rangers. What would be before that 2-week break. you kind of take your time and rest.
Which can't get here soon enough,
No.
it feels like.
Yeah, they needed it. They're banged up. Werenski's streak, his home scoring streak continues. He got it to 20 last night on the assist on the second goal. Aaron Portzline, astute as is customary of him. We expect nothing less. I think this kind of sums it up. Tough stretch for the CBJ, but a rich experience for many. Adam Fantilli played 24 and a half minutes. Second most time on ice in his career in the 3-2 loss to Utah. He led the Jackets in shot attempts, was second in hits, and was 9 of 18 from the faceoff circle. That type of experience, you cannot believe how important that is. Go ahead, Vic.
In the third period, it seemed like because they were playing 11 forwards last night and 7 defensemen, in the third period, it seemed like Fantilli was out there every other shift, whether it be with the top line or with the fourth line with Corrali and Putia. And I'll tell you what, in that fourth period, it sure seemed like Adam Fantilli and that top line was trying, or in the third period, they were trying to will that team to win because they were buzzing and they were all around Connor Ingram.
He's a stud. Fantilli's, he's who you've wanted.
And he's
everything you've wanted him to be.
We're just scratching the tip of the iceberg.
He's 20
here.
He's 20. This is just the tip. Who knows? You know what's coming. All right, Nate Davis, our good buddy, live from New Orleans. Super Bowl 59 is Sunday. That's in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings with new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items like pineapples, avocados, navel oranges, and lettuce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
For a limited time at Speedway, get 2 big pizza slices and your favorite Coca-Cola 20-ounce for only $5 with Speedy Rewards. Choose from Classic 3-Cheese, Pepperoni, or Extreme Meat Pizza. Save big with a $5 meal deal with Speedy Rewards. Only at Speedway. Valid through 3/4/25. See app for full terms.
Your furnace could be costing you in repairs and high utility bills. Replace it with Logan AC and Heat Services. Enjoy 0% APR financing for 72 months. It's hard to stop a train. Schedule now. Logan Services.
How high is your credit card rate? With rates as low as 9.90% APR, a Visa Platinum credit card from BMI Federal Credit Union is the perfect low-rate card for your wallet. Apply today at bmifcu.org/visa.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
And here's what's up on a Football Friday, the final Football Friday. We head down to New Orleans on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Super Bowl 59 set for Sunday. Our great friend Nate Davis joining us, USA Today, from down in New Orleans. Nate, thank you so much for taking the time. We'll get to the game in a second, but I just wanted to ask you from your vantage point, been around the league a long time. Have you ever had or seen or aware of a player doing what Myles Garrett did, taking his contract and his playing demands to Super Bowl Radio Row while still under contract, so much so it almost felt like an NBA free agent kind of thing? I couldn't recall anything like it to my recollection. Do you?
I hadn't thought about it in those terms. I think it might be a little coincidental. I mean, players are down in Radio Row like all the time every year, and Miles' circumstances are what they are. I'm not saying that there wasn't a certain strategy in place here. I mean, obviously, he made the trade demand earlier this week or last week. I mean, time's all running together for me right now. But
yeah, Monday.
He knew. I remember bumping into Miles, at the Super Bowl last year. So he is here every year. He knows how it works. And but I'm also not really sure that it's necessary. I mean, Myles Garrett says he wants to be traded. Nobody's going to lose sight of that fact, and the teams are going to do their due diligence. But I guess it does kind of amplify, his wishes a little bit.
Does it? That was kind of the headline of the week early. Not sure how much you've dug in on it, but the idea of trading him, the Browns have said we're not moving off of it. He's here. Trading him would be very difficult because they've already restructured his contract. It'd be a big dead cap hit for them. What do you think the likelihood of them changing their mind on this is? And I guess more honestly, do you think they should?
I feel like you can't. I mean, you got to take all these things kind of at their own circumstance. All trade demands are not created equal. I mean, if somebody comes in and blows the Browns away with an offer, certainly we've seen people, change their minds on that and say they weren't going to trade a guy, and he ends up getting moved. And Myles Garrett, at the stage of his career he's in, I mean, I think he would still fetch a very handsome compensation package if somebody's willing to pony it up. Of course, that also comes with having to pay him, so it's kind of a double whammy on the receiving team. But like you said, it's also it's whammy on the Browns giving the cap hit. But the Browns have kind of screwed up their cap for years anyway. So what's one more? But by the same token, I think. Nothing's going to happen imminently. Nothing can happen officially before March. I mean, a trade could be agreed to if it happens that fast. And remember Matthew Stafford. Sure. The Matthew Stafford trade happening. I think the Saturday before the Super Bowl. So these things can move quickly. But what are the Browns going to do with the draft? I mean, are they going to get to take a quarterback? It seems like it. I mean, are they gonna they've shown that they can win despite the circumstances they've had under center. I mean they go I think 11-6 with Joe Flacco. If you get a young guy in there, we've seen things turn around quickly for some teams. And eventually they'll get out of cap jail. But I think that also kind of speaks to Myles Garrett's frustrations. It's probably going to be another 2 years before they're super legitimate Super Bowl contenders. And I think he doesn't want to wait that long.
Super Bowl is set for Sunday. What is usually when you're at something like this, like the Super Bowl or even the NFL Combine, the draft, the whole league comes together, group think starts to happen. What's been kind of the big story this week in regard to this game? Is it the Chiefs chasing that history that has obviously there's no precedent for a team playing in three straight and winning the first two, let alone trying to win three in a row? What's kind of been the big headline stories of the week?
I'm not really sure there has been a big headline this week. Like you said, it's probably Myles Garrett. It seems like people are thinking Joe Burrow is going to try to get out of Cincinnati. Maybe that's the next one. Like you said, I mean, it seems like most of the questions to the teams, which is where I spent most of my time, has kind of been getting perspective on the potential three-peat, which of course has never been done in the Super Bowl era for the Chiefs. I feel like probably the main focus on the other side has probably been Saquon Barkley. I mean, he's the most distinctive factor, separating this game from the matchup 2 years ago, at least in terms of an individual player. He's had quite a media throng around him every day, and it's certainly kind of a more engaging story and personality than the Jalen Hurts tends to be. So I think it's kind of, can the Chiefs do it? But how are they going to stop Saquon, given how well he's played, and given that the Eagles gave the Chiefs all they could handle last time? It's too bad that game kind of came down to the James Bradbury holding penalty at the end. Otherwise, I think you might have had a classic finish. But the Chiefs barely managed to beat it 2 years ago, and I think they've got Saquon. I would say probably a better defense this time around. The Eagles, that is.
There's no question they've got the better roster top to bottom. The problem is Kansas City's got that wizard at quarterback. And Nate, this run that they've had, 3 Super Bowls already, trying to track down their fourth. They've just done it in very different ways. Like they're on the precipice of winning their third straight Super Bowl after trading Tyreek Hill. Like they flipped kind of who they were. It's such a and a lot of great teams do. I mean, the early Patriots run did not resemble the late Patriots run in terms of the way they went about their business. But I think their ability to kind of like flip this thing on the fly from the modern version of the greatest show on turf to a team that just wins every one-score game. I saw something like 17. They played 17 one-score games since 2023, and they've won them all.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the through line I'm seeing with a lot of these dynasties. I mean, I think the Chiefs are starting to more and more resemble, the Patriots from that standpoint. I mean, they've got the great coach and maybe even a little better. I mean, name me a better combination than Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. They've got the great quarterback. But I mean, they're not necessarily winning these championships by blowing the doors off people. I mean, to me, kind of the dominant Kansas City team I still think of is that 2018 one.
Yes.
When Mahomes was the starter the first year and put up those Madden passing numbers. It hasn't really approached that very closely since. But you can't beat them. And like you said, they've evolved. But the Patriots evolved, as you noted. Even you go back to the Steelers, and I mean, we're talking about the three-peat. The Chiefs would also, I think, be the second team to win 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, matching those Steelers if they did that. But I mean, they were kind of obviously the steel curtain team in the beginning of that run, and then those later Super Bowls, it was more the Terry Bradshaw show. So I think that's kind of what by definition probably a dynasty is you can find ways to win these games in more than one way.
When we get to Sunday night, how do you see this one going?
Well, I finally had to make my pick yesterday, and I went with the Eagles, and maybe it's because I've been able to kind of attend and report on more of their games, but they're tough. I mean, and I think especially so in the trenches. The Chiefs have had issues on the offensive line, as we've seen. Joe Thuney kind of solidified that left tackle spot, but the Eagles are much better there. I mean, I was saying the other day, maybe they don't have a Chris Jones on the defensive line, but maybe they do with Jalen Carter. They certainly have more depth there. Really impressive players, in the back seven as well. Jalen Hurts is a guy that always does enough to win, even if it doesn't look impressive in the box score. And I don't feel great about picking against Patrick Mahomes, but like you said, top to bottom, I think Philly is the better team, and I don't know if they could carry over what they did 2 weeks ago, but they really separated themselves from Washington, which is a 32-point win in a conference championship game is something you don't see in the playoffs. So I kind of like where things are trending for them.
What was the best meal you had down there?
Hopefully, I haven't had it yet. But I mean, I had a good one the other night at Cochon. I saw a couple of NFL players there. So I saw some former Bachelor was there with some Bachelor Nation entourage, but had some alligator bites and gumbo and some Louisiana freshly caught fish. So that's probably going to be the one unless I could top that tonight or tomorrow.
Cochon is spectacular. It's a tough one to beat, buddy. I'm jealous. That's a fantastic meal. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much for your time and joining us from Super Bowl week down in New Orleans. Thanks, pal.
All right. Be well, Bill. Thanks.
All right, that's Nate Davis. Covers the NFL at USA Today, joining us live from the Super Bowl in the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. The NFL awarded everything last night. What did they get right? What did they get wrong? We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Tri-State Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Tri-State Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Hey Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived, the only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that. And it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
The Fan app is about to become your new best friend. Your one-stop shop for all your favorite fan shows. ESPN Columbus and BetQL. Live or on demand, listen on your schedule. Download the 97.1 The Fan app today. It's free. Do it.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. The friends are the guests and listeners. Reeser and Baker just work here.
Back to work. Back to work. Everybody, work, 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 work.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Super Bowl Sunday, 2 days from now. Last day for Radio Row to get you set, and our great friends AR and Matty Ice are there. Coverage continues today, noon to 3 on The Fan, The Fan's YouTube channel. Former NFL MVP going to drop by. Rich Gannon, that's at 12:30. Former Falcons general manager Thomas Dimitroff, he joins at 1 o'clock. Harry Douglas at 1:30. Brian Baldinger at 2:30. Rothman and Ice live from Radio Row, presented by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. Big ups to our guy Fish. Big ups. He was the Barrett Sports Media rankings were this week. He comes in as the number 3 program director in America, which is spectacular for him. And now he has something to ascend to. to, get that spot to number one, and he's right there. But good job out of Fish, and well deserved. Best PD I've ever worked for. So absolutely great dude, and good to see it. Everybody here had a great week with that. That was fun to see. Everybody represented very well. So congratulations to everybody here at the Fan. This is the best sports radio station in America. It's just that simple. All right, NFL honors were last night. Josh Allen wins the MVP. Now, what's curious about this is he wins the MVP despite not being the first-team All-Pro quarterback. So I don't know that that's ever happened before.
That's a first.
Yeah, where you're not the first-team All-Pro quarterback, but you're the most valuable player in the league. So I don't know if the All-Pro was a tip of the cap to Lamar Jackson for, quite honestly, maybe the best statistical season in the history of the sport. And this was for Allen. And look, I get Allen deserves it. He has less talent around him. He absolutely is worthy of this. There's no question he's one of the 3 to 4 best players. Everybody knows it. It's understood. But that part I'd never seen, and obviously there's a reason for that because it's never happened. You've never had a guy be the first-team All-Pro quarterback, but not be the most valuable player when the award is given to a quarterback. There's just nothing like that. I don't know if folks are aware of what Lamar did statistically this season. I'm going to give it to you just to try to wrap your head around it. Lamar Jackson this season, for a guy who at one point said, I don't know if he'll ever throw it well enough. Well, he completed 67% of his passes for 4,172 yards. Here's the thing that's crazy. 41 touchdowns, 4 picks. And, oh, by the way, he ran for another 915. That might be the best season ever. I mean, even his unanimous MVP season, it's not in that vicinity the way that he was. He ran for 1,200 yards in 19, 1,000 yards in 20. But to have 900 on the ground, another 41-72 through the air, 41 touchdowns, 4 picks, that's all time. But it seems like they just made it right. Allen gets the MVP. He's first-team All-Pro. The thing that's crazy about this is Mahomes was nowhere in the top 5, and statistically I get it. But if anybody who had any of those other guys that are in the top 5 under contract and you could trade them for Mahomes, you would. So it's that weird thing that sometimes happens in the NBA where it's universally known who the best player is, but he doesn't win the awards.
Yeah, he got, it looks like 3 third-place votes was right. As high as Mahomes finished, and we would all still say, because it had it not been probably the worst day at the office ever for Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
The Ravens are advancing to the AFC Championship game. But to your point, are they overcoming the football wizard?
No.
Right. And
I don't think. To
your point about Lamar's statistical numbers, when they got Derrick Henry, I thought, well, certainly his numbers will be down because logically, sure. And he defied logic.
Yeah.
Again.
The season Lamar had is just incredible. And I think I understand he's got Derrick Henry, but I think it's crazy that we're not talking about him as the MVP. The other thing in all of this, I wonder if this voting would have changed up at all had the Bengals made the playoffs, because Burrow threw for almost 5,000 yards this year. I mean, his season was ridiculously incredible statistic-wise. I think he had 43 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So Burrow had an amazing year. I wonder if they make the playoffs, if this is any different.
Yeah, I think it probably is. This is kind of my thinking on why. I think that the voters said, well, we cannot put him in a 3-timers club with Lamar. Because if you do that, then I'm going to give you the list of the folks who've won 3 MVPs. NFL history, okay? This is the entire list. Peyton Manning has won 5 MVPs. Aaron Rodgers, 4 MVPs. 4 of them for Rodgers. Here are the guys with 3. Jim Brown, Johnny Unitas, Brett Favre, Tom Brady. That's it. That's the list. Joe Montana's only got 2. Mahomes only has 2. So what do Manning, Rodgers, Brown, Unitas, Favre, and Brady all have in common?
Super Bowls.
They're all champions. NFL champions for Brown and Unitas, but they are, and Super Bowl for Johnny, but they are Super Bowl They are champions. You don't have that yet for Lamar. So I think that they were the vote, and it was close. I mean, he had 362 votes. Allen had 383, so it was very close.
You're making this sound an awful lot like baseball voters for the Hall of Fame.
It's just like the NBA.
Show your ballots.
Yeah, it's
everybody.
This isn't any. Josh Allen is deserving. Like, his roster is not as good as the Baltimore roster, offensively or defensively, and he's had to do a lot. Just statistically, it wasn't in the vicinity of what Lamar did. It's a little bit like, though, and you mentioned baseball. It's like this with the NBA, too. I mean, Shaq and Kobe have as many combined MVPs as Steve Nash, and nobody during Shaq's prime or Kobe's prime would have picked anyone other than those two, except for maybe a stretch of a season or two where you would have taken Tim Duncan. But those were the universal best players in the game, and Nash won 2 MVPs, and Shaq and Kobe have a total of 2 combined. So, like, there is kind of a gatekeeper to it. The same thing you could say about LeBron. LeBron probably should have won an MVP more recently than he has. Certainly the idea he didn't win one in his 4 years in the return to Cleveland is crazy with all he did with those rosters. So there's like a thing of like, well, you've won enough. And I think Lamar's just at the spot where he's won enough that until he wins a Super Bowl, there isn't anything else to chase there in terms of they're just going to keep him from winning it because of it. And again, Allen is worthy. If there's anybody who can go toe-to-toe with him, it is Allen, and he is certainly deserving. It's just this was an all-time Lamar season, and maybe one of the all-time best quarterback seasons anyone's ever had. They did spread some of the other awards out as predicted. Saquon Barkley wins Offensive Player of the Year. I think that the Bengals were by not making the postseason. I think Jamar Chase didn't win Offensive Player of the Year. I think Burrow could have been closer in the MVP category. I think Trey Hendrickson wins Defensive Player of the Year. Instead, it went to Patrick Surtain, who's the first quarterback in 5 years to win the award. But they could have had a night, and instead they missed the postseason, so they really didn't get anything. Burrow won Comeback Player of the Year. I always think that's a little – to me, I guess he comes back from injury. I get it. But, like, to me, that should be someone with a little bit more hardship than that. But happy for him that he won that. Kevin O'Connell predicted winning the Coach of the Year, so we nailed that one as well in terms of how it would all shake out. Any other beef with this?
I think my one thing is how in the world is Jaden Daniels not unanimous Rookie of the Year? Like, I know Brock
Show
Bowers.
your ballots.
I know Brock Bowers had a great year, a record-setting year. But, man, and he had nobody throwing him the ball. I get that. But, man, I don't know how you can't vote Jaden Daniels Offensive Rookie of the Year, what he did for Washington.
If you would have done it after the postseason, he would have. They just did it in the regular season, so that's probably why. Go ahead, Vic.
821-9710. We're not taking your calls. Eli Manning, Hall of Famer or not. He was not voted on the ballot yesterday. You got Antonio Gates, Eric Allen, defensive end Jared Allen, and Sterling Sharp will be the 4 inducted August 2nd. I think it's one of the smallest classes of all time.
It's 4. It's tiny. I also think it's crazy. Luke Kuechly, he's not a first ballot
Adam
Hall of
Vinatieri.
Famer. I mean, go look at Kuechly from an all-pro standpoint. It's crazy. He should have been in on a first ballot.
Reese, tell him to call in Sunday from 11 to noon. They can talk about
You want to do Eli Manning?
That'll be
Hall of Fame talk.
Scotty and I will take the calls.
The day of the Super Bowl, Chiefs and Eagles. Y'all want to do Eli Manning?
Eli Manning talk. We'll hit some Super Bowl prop bets, have some fun with that coming up next. Second hour of the program, Tim May at 10:30. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Common Man has spent the past 18 years telling you how much he hates people. And yes, that probably means you, too. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Hey friends, Beamer here. I want to tell you about my new obsession. It's the Daisy French onion dip. One of my guilty pleasures, I'm sure you have it too, during the football season, is eating dips, sometimes with chips, wings, veggies, whatever you want to dip in there. And now Daisy, they've come out with a Daisy French onion dip and a Daisy ranch dip, and these are a total game changer. They're just as good as homemade dips, if not even better. They've got real herbs and spices and ingredients you'd even find in your own kitchen. I invite you to try the Daisy French onion dip. I'm a big French onion guy. That's my favorite. You can look for Daisy French onion dip at a grocery store near you.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, as Care grew over the years, you had many opportunities to sell Care to one of the big conglomerates that are buying companies all over Central Ohio. So tell our customers why you decided to keep Care in the family.
After talking about Care's values for over 30 years, I couldn't bear the thought of Care becoming the kind of company I was warning our customers about. I know the two of you will continue to treat our customers as I would, with honesty and integrity.
We will, Dad. In 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
It Ain't Right Tour 2025.
The poor mother is in the balcony, and the kids are down here with the father and his gumad. If this was the 80s, the kids would have been up there, and the parents would have been down here.
Sebastian Maniscalco, live on stage in Cleveland. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, Friday, February 7th. Get tickets now at rocketmortgagefieldhouse.com.
Big game party? Save big with Hothead Burritos Super Online Catering Discount. Bowls, burritos, tacos. Your guests will have a blast creating their own with choices for groups of 10 or more. Plan your menu now for Sunday's game at hotheadburritos.com.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When you leave a job, don't leave your 401k. Grow your investment without the fees associated with 401k plans. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Head to TrueGreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
Empower. Nick bought a new guitar, a 62 American Classic Electric. Does he know how to play? No. But Nick's Empower investment account has performed well. He got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risks. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisory Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is a really good guitar solo.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The basketball Buckeyes improved to 500 in the Big Ten thanks to Bruce Thornton's banking three with 7 seconds left to lift Ohio State over number 18 Maryland 73-70 last night at the Shot. Thornton had a game-high 31 points. Micah Parrish added 13 in the win. Ohio State 6-6 in the conference. That's good for 8th place in the Big Ten. Buckeyes will play at Nebraska Sunday at 2 o'clock. In the NBA, the Cavaliers are at the Wizards tonight at 7. New Cavs forward DeAndre Hunter will likely not play as he was acquired yesterday at the trade deadline from the Atlanta Hawks. Hunter is expected to make his debut this coming Monday when Cleveland hosts Minnesota. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets fell to the Utah Hockey Club 3-2 last night in overtime. Jackets pick up a point in the win. They're one back of the Red Wings for the second wildcard spot in the East. CBJ will host the Rangers tomorrow night at 7. This update sponsored by Whiskey War by High Bank Distillery. Drink local, drink High Bank.
Have you already started your tailgate? Us too. It's Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
So we were joking about the Eli Manning Hall of Fame, and we were also joking a little bit about show your ballots. So the AP published the ballots for the MVP. They published them. Do you guys even know who Jim Miller? Do you know who Jim Miller is?
Is he
Does that name ring a bell?
Steve Miller's brother?
I know he's a UFC fighter.
He's a joker. No, he was an NFL quarterback, Bears Steelers of.
Oh yeah,
he was a journeyman guy. He hosts a show called on NFL Sirius NFL called Moving the Sticks with Pat Kerwin, who's pretty solid, good show. Jim Miller voted Lamar Jackson 4th.
He's a midnight toker.
Jeesh.
If that's what he's thinking.
Must be a bit.
Sir.
Must be. What are we doing?
Who'd he vote first?
Hey, so Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley 2nd, Joe Burrow 3rd, Lamar Jackson 4th. Like, that's not the reason he lost. I mean, it's kind of split, but like from an MVP, unlike the Baseball Hall of Fame, you have how you voted 1 through 5. And yeah, it's pretty wild that someone would vote Lamar Jackson 4th on the 4th for MVP. All right, let's have a little fun with the betting and the big Super Bowl this fine weekend. What do you have for us, Reese?
I had a couple of fun prop bets.
Let's do it.
You want to start with just the game itself?
Let's start game and then move to nonsense.
So the game kicks off at 6:30-ish.
Yep.
Chiefs are a 1.5 favorite, according to ESPN Bet.
-1.5. Well, that's Chiefs winning by a field goal. I got Kansas City. I'm not doing it. I will not bet against him. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
It's inevitable, right? Are you with me? Yeah, it's inevitable with him, right?
Just
Bake, where are you at?
I got a 1.5. That's come on.
Yeah, I mean, this game's close, but is it that close? Yeah, it's a close one.
I mean,
I'm thinking, what was the last one? 38-35?
It was 2 years ago?
Yeah. I think we're right around there. We're right around a field goal, right?
You get Mahomes, and all he's got to do is win by a field goal or a safety. Come on.
Yeah, 38-35 was Super Bowl 57's final score.
Yeah.
So this feels to be like that. The over-under is set at 48.5.
So my inclination here is to go over the 48.5. I think I'm going to stay there. I think this is something like Chiefs 28, Eagles 24, somewhere in there. I don't think it'll be 38-35. I think that both these teams play pretty dang good defense, and I don't think it's going to be a shootout. But I do think it'll be comfortably over 48.5. So yeah, I'll go the over.
So if I remember correctly, they both went over in their championship games.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, these teams, the Chiefs' defense is probably a little better than it was 2 years ago, but the Eagles didn't have Saquon Barkley. I get the feeling of a 35-31 type game. So, yeah, I think it's over.
Super Bowl 58 was Chiefs win 25-22. over the 49ers. So that puts you just under it, or a little bit under it. But Super Bowl 58 had that 57 of the 38-35 win in favor of the Chiefs, which is, I believe, very much over, if we're doing the math there.
Yeah.
I found one that I thought was interesting. Travis Kelce over under 59.5 receiving yards.
Well, for the season, he would be well under that, right? I mean, This is the Super Bowl. Did he walk, was he at the, no, he wasn't at any of the award stuff last night. I saw some pictures of Taylor Swift, but she wouldn't have been at any sort of award. That had to be from like the Grammys or something, right?
Yes. I think she was.
Like in that red outfit?
Yeah.
Is that from the Grammys?
I forget which award. It was last weekend. But
okay.
You could have told me it was the Tonys, and I'd be like, it sounds like something Taylor Swift would go to.
So, Trav's been under this last 3 times out. He's been over it twice. Was targeted in the last game that they all played, the primary players against Pittsburgh, was targeted 11 times, caught 8 of them for 84, was 7 for 117 against Houston, but against Buffalo, just 2 for 19 for Travis Kelce. What did you say? 50 what? 57 and a half?
59 and a half.
59 and a half. I'm going to go under.
So you're right. He had been crushing this for about a month until that Bills game.
Yeah.
The Eagles gave up a boatload of catches and yards to Zach Ertz in the NFC Championship game. And I think Mahomes, Kelsey's that warm blanket. I think he goes over.
Do we want to do any more game props here, or do we want to go fun?
You got one more game, and then we'll go fun.
All right. For total passing yards for Jalen Hurts, 300 or more is right now plus 225.
No, he's not throwing for 300 yards. Well under.
Yeah, I don't think that's if he has to throw for 300 yards, I don't think that's a good sign for the Eagles if they need him to throw the ball that much. So I'm going to go under.
Can I get you 250 or more minus 125 are your odds per ESPN bet?
I don't even love that, honestly. I think it's under. I'm saying all of this, and I'm curious, like, when is the last? All right, so against Pittsburgh on December 15th, he threw for 290. In terms of throwing for over 250, he's only done it 4 times, and the other 5 times are all at the beginning of the year before they changed their offense. Threw for 264 against Cleveland on October 13th, 311 against New Orleans on the 22nd, 278 in the opener against Green Bay. That's it. Since they had the team meeting and sorted themselves out after being 2-2, he's only thrown for over 250 once. So no, I don't think he's getting there.
I would have to say under. I feel like he's probably in the 230 to 240 range for this one.
As I was scrolling these this morning, I was like, what's one prop that everybody should stay away from? And it's Jalen Hurts passing yards. That just felt to me like, nope, don't touch it.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Let's have a little fun here. On the national anthem, New Orleans singer John Baptiste.
Oh, John Baptiste.
Baptiste.
He's great. Love that guy.
Over 121 seconds is plus 100. Under 121 seconds, minus 130.
Pretty sure he's like absurdly talented, like Juilliard trained skill on multiple musical apparatus and then singing as well. I think he's going over. I think this is a New Orleans kid in his hometown, and I think he lets it breathe. I'm going over 121. Does it start when the music starts, or if he sings a cappella, then it would be from his first note, but otherwise it would be when the music starts. So yeah, I think you're going over.
So it looks like he's done this a couple times. He did it at the 2017 NBA All-Star game. He was right around the 120. At the 2017 U.S. Open, he was, they say, easily under the 120 seconds. Now, he didn't have any, he wasn't playing any instruments at the U.S. Open. He was playing instruments at the NBA, and when he did the NBA kickoff. So that may be the key if he comes out with any instruments. I'm going to say we go under on this one.
He's going to come out with instruments. It's in his hometown. It's the Super Bowl. I think you get,
So that's where I was going to go with this. The next bet or the next prop, will John Batiste perform the national anthem with the piano? Yes is the favorite at minus 400.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That's the most, that to me, I think so.
And it looks like he did that at the NBA All-Star game, and then when he did the NBA kickoff, he was playing a guitar.
He can do, I'm telling you,
like,
one of the
he won't do both,
humans. He's one of the most talented musical humans walking the globe. That's who that guy is.
All right, do we want to real quick do Gatorade color or Kendrick Lamar's first song at half?
Do Gatorade color because I don't think I know any of Kendrick Lamar's first songs by name. I think I'll know I'll hear it, but I won't know it.
The favorite and the color that's been poured on the last two Super Bowl winning coaches, or just poured on Andy Reid, has been purple. And that's the favorite at plus 225. Yellow, green, lime is plus 250. Orange plus 400. You got purple, 58, 57, blue, 56, blue, 55, and then orange last time in 2020. That was also poured on Andy Reid.
Oh, my God. The Chiefs have had multiple different colors?
Just purple and orange.
Purple and orange. Yeah, I just felt like safe bet that it would be. I think it's strange. I think it's probably a big miss on Gatorade that they don't get the red flavor right, because wouldn't that make the one that would make the most sense?
But to get that out of a jersey or a shirt?
Yeah, dude, getting that Gatorade out of anything is brutal. Like that color, forget it. Any of it. I'm going to go, I think they go red. I'm going off the board. I think, what was red even on there?
I'll find it real quick.
All right, I got red.
You know what's funny, Bo?
They're going to match it up finally.
I was thinking red, too. We got to match it once here with the Chiefs.
Yeah. It's 3 in a row. Get the red to knock it out. Speaking of the Chiefs, obviously they are chasing a lot of history. They are not liked by the children that live in my house, and many of you out there listening, many want this reign to end. I just don't see it. We'll hear from them coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Tweet from a listener. Are you carrying the Buckeye game today? Considering we've never not carried one, yes. The answer is yes. The Fan.
The New Year's celebration is come and gone, but my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin are still offering those great deals. Rich is sticking with rates starting as low as 0% and leases starting from only $249 a month. Test drive the Prologue, the new all-electric SUV from Honda. And how about the very popular CR-V LX all-wheel drive? A 25 lease is only $349 a month for 36 months with $19.99 down. See the dealer for all these amazing details. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Back in the studio with a return visit from
Todd Schmeldt.
Todd, the last time you were with us, you claimed to be
the dumbest person in Columbus.
You're being really hard on yourself.
Not in the least. You know what I got?
I hate to ask.
One of them thermostats with the dial and the needle. Woo, woo, woo.
Maybe that's not modern, but not...
What am I? Eli Whitney, Elias Howe, Johann Gertis?
I don't know who those people are.
Those are old-timey people from the 19th century, and that's me. Outdated, like my silly old thermostat.
Okay, look, you're not the dumbest guy in Columbus. You just haven't called Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Those guys. Whether it's the latest technology, fixing your furnace, or a brand new system, they know all the stuff so you don't have to.
I don't have to know it all?
Nah, you just have to know the pros who knows.
Apex Pros. I'm not the dumbest guy in Columbus.
I didn't even know who Johann Gertis was.
Inventor of the gas-powered unicycle. Look it up, doy.
Okay, you don't have to be me.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Only one football game left this season makes me sad. But watching that last game at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus makes me very happy. Scotty Vegas, and we're throwing a super watch party for the big game February 9th. Reserve your table at HollywoodColumbus.com. Come early for a live sports betting show at 5. Stay for the game with prizes and prop contests. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older to enter. See you at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook for a Super Sunday.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Bobby Carpenter once sold workout equipment on QVC Canada. There's no joke here. That actually happened. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move. A pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Black history is American history. In this Black History Month, the Ohio Education Association is celebrating the many Black Ohioans who have shaped our past and who are paving the way for a brighter future for all of us. I'm OEA President Scott DeMar, and as a high school social studies teacher, I've seen how important it is for our students to receive a full and honest education so they can become better critical thinkers. Join the Ohio Education Association in standing up for our students' freedom to learn.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are tracking the sunshine out there today, high around 35. Cloudy tonight, low 26. Dry on your Saturday morning, but some rain and freezing rain expected Saturday afternoon. Freezing rain could be pretty bad along and north of I-70. South of I-70, it shouldn't be as bad. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Distilled sports discussion, served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are, and we are sponsored and brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 75 years. Reese, did you see the news? Your boy, Ben Simmons, could be coming. He's now available. He's going to meet with the Cavs and the Clippers. It's coming full circle, pal.
Look, I'll just say what they did yesterday, getting DeAndre Hunter, and then now this Ben Simmons thing, that's a reaction from losing to Boston. Because as much fun as we've had at Ben Simmons' expense, this is a very low risk, potentially high reward acquisition if they're able to sign him to a very small contract. He'll be bought out by the Nets, who he's played like 33 games with this season. So, okay, that's the redemption story of all redemption stories. If Ben Simmons joins the Cleveland Cavaliers the day after the NBA trade deadline and they win the NBA championship the following June.
I think it was of all of the deal, other than the Luka deal, in all of the deals around NBA, the Luka deal obviously was on another level in all things. And then the Lakers are also able to poach like the center from Charlotte, which just seems like that'll help a lot.
You traded Dalton Knecht? Yeah.
Which I like that pick of him. I mean, that's a nice pick. You knew he'd be a guy who could come in and play right away, and he has. So they get that deal done. The De'Aaron Fox deal done to San Antonio. I like that long term for Wemby and all of that. Like that fits pretty nicely for them. But I thought what the Cavs did with DeAndre Hunter, and then if they can get Simmons with his length, that to me is those two deals. That's going for it. That's going for it. So they got some length now. They got some shooting with Hunter. Hunter's a tremendous athlete. Played with Ty Jerome at Virginia when they won the national title. So there's a little bit of synergy there. But no, that was an all-in approach from the Cavaliers, which is what the Kansas City Chiefs have been since they elevated Patrick Mahomes to starting quarterback. They have been all in. He has taken the sports world by storm, taken the NFL by storm. Early on, it was spectacular passing numbers. Now they're kind of just known as this incredibly clutch team that just wins all the close games. It's just what they do. Andy Reid has been the steward over all of it. Was asked this week why it's so tough to stay great. Here was his answer.
Of all the ups and downs and arounds that you went through during the season, the injuries, all those things that have to just happen the right way, with the margin to win and or lose in this league is so small. The parity is unbelievable. That's the way the commissioner and the owners wanted that, so that every city had a chance. And so it's just, some of these games are, they're gut wrenching, and I've got a lot of gut to wrench. So, it's one of those things. So you really have to, you got to hit it right, and it's got to come out right.
Andy Reid has been in Kansas City since 2013. He has made the playoffs every year except one. That was in 2014. Since they elevated Patrick Mahomes in 2018, 12-4, 12-4, 14-2, 12-5, 14-3, 11-6, 15-2. In his coaching career, going all the way back to Philly, even in Philly, he had obviously no losing records in Kansas City. He had a losing record his last year in Philly in 2012. Then 2005, they went 6-10, and in his first year, they went 5-11. So a total of 3 losing records in his career. You could make an argument that if this keeps going, he has a chance to be the best coach in NFL history. He's on a very, very short list, and if he keeps stacking these Super Bowls, it's certainly going to be part of it. Him and Mahomes linked together, that's a big part of this as well. Here is Patrick Mahomes on Andy Reid.
I think what drives Coach Reid is just the greatness and becoming better people every single day. I think that's something that is special about him, is he doesn't care if he's playing week 18 or week 1 or Super Bowl or preseason game. He's the same. He's the same. He's going to expect greatness out of you. And when you leave the building, he wants you to be a better person than when you got in the building. And I think that makes you want to be better every single day that you're in the building. And so when people talk about three-peat and everything like that, we're focused on how we can be better today to prepare ourselves for the next day. And it starts with him.
How much do you I don't know if it's just we had Nate Davis on USA Today, who was down there all week. The Miles story, and then him on doing the media tour on Tuesday, that was kind of the headliner. And then Burrow, and I don't know if you think that's just us, because these are teams that are close to us, but I was surprised Nate Davis saying the same thing. Like, I asked him, what have been kind of the overwhelming stories of Super Bowl week, and he said Miles and Burrow, that it hasn't really been about the game.
Yeah, I think it's those two. I think especially with Garrett, there's so many the ripple effect from Myles Garrett requesting that trade, because you just see teams pop up and be like, we could acquire. There's only 2 teams involved in the Super Bowl, and I think the general conversation that the NFL wants to have. I mean, they just announced the Steelers to Ireland officially. I think the fans are more interested in those storylines than the game itself. And I think that's just because it lends to, hey, we've seen this before. And there is a little bit of fatigue. Once you get to Sunday, it'll be all about these 2 teams. But in the lead up, and the fact that I do think the Myles Garrett situation is so unique, because he's a player that would never, a couple of years ago, you would think that would have this kind of trade demand be so public. And then Burrow going out of his way to kind of put the organization in such a tough spot by saying, get this done publicly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes for, I think, more interesting storylines right now. Certainly.
There is fatigue with these 2 teams. This is Philly's 3rd shot at this since, the Philly play, what's that, 2000, is that like 18? The Philly play? So this is their 3rd shot at it. 1-1. This will be the 2nd one that they've played for against Kansas City. And then we've seen a steady diet of Kansas City AFC championships, 7 of them in a row that they've played in. They're going for their 4th Super Bowl championship. They also have a loss, so this is their 5th time in the Super Bowl in the last 7 years. The only times they didn't advance is when Brady and the Patriots beat them the first time, and when Burrow beat them with the Bengals. That's it. Other than that, since Mahomes has been the starting quarterback, they've played in the Super Bowl. So Yeah, there is some fatigue. And I think it was similar to, kind of the Tom Brady feeling you had around New England, where it's just, and I think this is even, to me, this one is, I think there's the part of this with Kelsey and Swift that I think people are tired of too. And I think is a little bit unfortunate. He's in love with a girl who's real famous. Like, she's going to be on TV, kids. She's going to be focused on the Super Bowl. Like, this is something that has happened forever. Go, watch a Laker game. Watch a Rangers game at Madison Square Garden. Watch a Knicks game at Madison Square Garden. They always show the famous people in the stands. She's she's the most famous woman on the planet, and she's at NFL games. Like, I think it's well within reason for her to be on television.
Yeah, rewatch the national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame, and then just tally how many times you saw LeBron.
Yeah. Spike Lee at Madison Square Garden forever. Yes. He was actually in the game almost half the time.
It'll be a fun one in 2025. How many times? What is it going to be? Fox or NBC that carries Ohio State, Texas? How many times they go to Matthew McConaughey?
Oh God,
that's coming.
We got to get him on. That's got to be our goal. That Friday.
Do you go through the University of Texas? Is there a minister of culture?
Probably. Yeah, I would say. My guess is, God, that can't be a noon game, can it? Don't do that to us.
It's going to be night, right?
It's got to be. I mean, if you're Fox, is that your first? I mean, they historically get the first 2 picks, but they didn't take Oregon this year. Like, the first pick, is the first pick next year still? Look at us. We've turned Chiefs Super Bowl talk into Buckeyes. Is it
more interesting?
Is the first pick next year, if you're Fox, is it the Michigan game or is it Texas?
I feel like you just have to go Ohio State and Michigan. It's one, because it's what you've always done. 2, because they're the defending national champions. 3, Ohio State's lost 4 straight in the rivalry.
I think your last point there, Reese, is the winner, right? Like, hey, they won the national championship, but...
And I could have scarlet and gray blinders on with that, but... And I don't know, sitting there looking at Ohio State, Texas, and you're like, damn.
I mean, Arch Manning's first start. I mean, first start as the starter. He started last year, but like number 1 versus number 2. Like, it's probably the biggest opener. I mean, we'll get a lot of months to talk about. Probably the biggest opener in the history of college football, honestly. Number 1 against number 2. Arch Manning's first season as the starter at the Horseshoe. I mean, it checks a lot of rematch of the national semifinal. Checks a lot of boxes. Tim May checks a lot of boxes. He'll join us in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hey guys, it's Timmy Hall. This ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is Super Bowl 59. So get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting that Lombardi trophy, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to go for 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code TheFan971. That's code TheFan971 for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Ohio only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
They're trained. They're fired up.
Let's do it.
When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Let Diamond Seller's Blue Box be a part of your forever. Join us February 21st and 22nd for Wedding Weekend and save big on wedding and anniversary bands. Plus, enjoy special no-interest financing on engagement rings. Visit Diamond Seller on Sawmill Road or at Easton Town Center.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When you leave a job, don't leave your 401k. Grow your investment without the fees associated with 401k plans. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan. fan.
Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Friday, 10:30. We'd like to visit with our good buddy Tim May. The Tim May Show at Letterman Row and right here at the Fan on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Favorite Super Bowl memory for you as a kid and then as an adult?
Favorite Super Bowl memory as a kid would be Bart Starr leading the first two Green Bay Packer wins, followed by Joe Namath leading the third. Having grown up in Alabama, those were my heroes. And wow, the first three Super Bowls were won by Alabama quarterbacks. How many times have you been able to see that since then?
What memory, in terms of your memories from those, was it a big deal? The Super Bowl?
It was a big, because it was for me because I love football.
Yeah.
But, the Joe Namath one, because I got to see Joe Namath play at Alabama live, and all the home games. And then Bart Starr was like this guy who, when you look back on Bart Starr, he wasn't even a star at Alabama, except in name. And but then he was one of those game manager kind of guys. And the funny thing about it is Mahomes is kind of a game manager too when you look at it, but with a spectacular flair. And he's more like Joe Willie Namath than he was Bart Starr. But but then recently, just watching the Bengals get there with Joe Burrow. I mean, I got to cover 3 Super Bowls in the early 80s before I started covering Ohio State football, and that put it on a different level. But just watching Mahomes operate the last many years has been fun. But Joe Burrow's rise a couple of years ago was just crazy, and then the game being swung by a great play by Aaron Donald, just kind of reinforces what really matters in big games.
Is it what 3 did you cover?
The first one would have been the Bengals, and then the next 2, including Marcus Allen's whip around run against the Washington Redskins in Tampa, in the old Tampa Stadium.
So that would have been Niners over Bengals.
Riggins, I think, the Riggins game in between. Yeah,
the Riggins game in between, and then the rematch with Marcus Allen with maybe the greatest run and one of the greatest runs in the history of football, honestly, yeah.
You know what's funny is my wife and I, in 1984, she came out for the Rose Bowl because, I figured Ohio State went to the Rose Bowl every year since that was the first year I started covering them. And we went to a place called Gladstone's for Fish down on the right where Sunset Boulevard dumps into the Pacific Coast Highway. Mm-hmm. There's a place right on the water there called Gladstone's for Fish. And we sit down and we're having early dinner, and we look over and there's Marcus Allen with 3 people. I didn't recognize the other 3, but it's funny you can bump into out on the coast.
In Los Angeles, yeah, it allows for a lot of that, my friend. All right, Ryan Day had himself a busy week. He got a contract extension. He got his offensive staff kind of locked in. What did you make of his hires? And let's just start there. What did you make of the offensive hires?
I liked every one of them. The guy from Virginia Tech's a big-time, well-respected offensive line coach. You also happen to be the coordinator. So you've got that juice going for you in the offensive room, just like you had with Justin Fry, When he was a offensive coordinator at UCLA, also being the line coach. Of course, it was under Chip Kelly. But I like that hire a lot. And then also, is Brian Hartline now ready to call plays? I think we're going to find out. And the thing about it is, 2 years ago when Ryan elevated Brian, it was we're not in on the meetings. We're not in on the discussions. I think it was more of Ryan having cold feet, kind of going into the year, especially coming out of the spring, but going into the year, is this guy ready? But am I ready to step away from doing it? And I think he found out, all of the positives of not being that guy and being able to be a head coach. And then Billy Fessler being named elevated to true quarterbacks coach. That was just kind of putting the icing on the cake of what he really was this past year.
Yeah, I think in order for
I like
Ryan,
that hire a lot.
Yeah, I think in order for Ryan to give up play calling, it had to be somebody. There's a reason that he hired Bill O'Brien and then Chip. Like it had to be somebody who had run a full operation that he could say, "This is the reason I got this job," and is my play calling and offensive design. And to give that up, I got to give it to somebody I can trust entirely. And now he must feel that way about Brian, that he can trust him entirely. But also because you win a national championship, there can be a learning curve here.
Yeah, exactly. But you can like a race car driver, you can live on that curve now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You couldn't necessarily do that this time a year ago.
No.
And then the other thing with Bill O'Brien, we've talked about that. We talked about that Monday on the show, if you remember. I mean, he originally wanted to hire Chip Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Chip Kelly was trying to get an NFL job this time, and Bill O'Brien, what he wanted? He wanted his running game fixed. I think they did that. Wow. In the playoffs, they got some huge contributions by their two running backs. So I would say that was mission accomplished. And
I would too, yeah.
And now with this new staff, I think they can carry on in that regard.
When do you expect a defensive coordinator hire?
Whenever probably Ryan gets back. Who knows? I mean, I know that's number one, obviously on his list. It was probably number one on his list to begin with.
Yeah.
Because his expertise is on the offensive side. But, the idea is you got to get this right. And I'm still not ruling out that he could name Matt Guerrieri and Tim Walton as co-defensive coordinators.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not ruling that out. I'm sure he's looking around the country to get the best guy he can get. But Jim Knowles, he had to grow on you a little bit. I mean, this doesn't mean necessarily you're going to drop in and get that special guy and it be obvious to everybody from the get-go. Jim Knowles brought in something totally different, which is what Ryan was looking for then for the defense, more of an aggressive bent. And then that had to kind of, what do you want to call it? It had to, Jim Knowles had to adapt to Ohio State just like Ohio State had to adapt to him.
Yeah.
So now you've kind of got that system in place. You want to bring somebody who's going to bring something maybe a little bit different, but not totally new. Because I like the way that defense played. I don't know about you, Bo.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I sure did.
But that was full of veterans. Full of veterans, man.
It was. And I think that's, when we start talking about when you get into the offseason, I can't wait for spring football. I want to see some of these young guys who need to step up into big roles. So, I think there's a lot of layers to this, and I'm fascinated to see how he handles, the minutes of the guys who have played a lot of football versus juxtaposed to the young guys who need reps. And I think that's going to be fascinating.
They're starting spring ball basically 2 weeks later than they have been, in the past. They're not doing it until after they get back for spring break. So he's got that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, here's the thing. If you aspire to be a national championship coach now, knowing the gauntlet you have to run, I think a lot of people are going to study how Ohio State did things, not the least of which no, this is funny to say because not everybody loses to their rival and goes on to win a national championship. But Alabama has.
Alabama did it.
And now Ohio State has.
Yeah, those two have done it. Last 2 days ago, Wednesday was National Signing Day. It was the second one. There was one kid in the top 100 who committed. That's it. Everybody else is on campus and signed and all of those things. Do you miss the old way where the one signing day was in February and that was it? And what is your craziest signing day story?
My craziest signing day story would
you were in Jeanette, PA, were you not?
Yeah, I was in Jeanette, PA. That would be the craziest, but that was more like a signing day 2 week period.
Wait, what? You're not signing?
It's
We're
funny
all here. What are you doing?
Yeah, but when Terrell Pryor came here to visit on that one Sunday, he was at a basketball game, and several of us were sort of chasing him around town, if you follow my drift. And you've been to Ohio's, the Schottenstein Center. The floor is raised up about 2 inches.
Yep.
And Tim May almost did a face plant right in the middle as I was following him across the basketball floor. But that would absolutely be the craziest.
Yeah.
What was the other question?
Did you miss it? Do you miss one National Signing Day? Because I feel like it gets lost in December. And
because you know why? It is just one National Signing Day now, and then I'm talking about for the big time schools like Ohio State, Alabama, et cetera.
Yeah.
And then you maybe had a player to be named later on the regular signing day. Really, the regular signing day is in December now, and it's the late signing day in February. They got to get something figured out, Bo.
I know.
But you look at the college football calendar. How do you do that? Where do you put it? The problem is it's 24/7, 365 calendar now for college head coaches. I don't know where you do things without really shaking it up.
I do have a solution, but we don't have time to get into it right now. We'll do it one of these times. We'll do.
Is it Epsom salt?
No, that's not it. No. Good talking to you, buddy.
Always a pleasure. You know that, man.
All right, there he is. Tim May, the Tim May Show at Letterman Road, joining on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on the Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. Ohio State with a victory, 73-70 over Maryland. Congratulations. This was a game where your team showed a lot of heart getting this win.
It's exactly what we taught. Thanks, guys, and praise God that we had enough heart. He gave us just enough heart to finish this thing the way we did, and that's what we talked about at halftime, guys. It was we had more to give. And it just was like just give all you got, play with a big heart. That was really the message. Obviously, we talked some scheme and stuff, but I thought our guys came out, played. Obviously, multiple runs in that second half from both teams. Really good Maryland team who's been playing really, really well. And Bruce Thornton, how about that?
All right, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
73-70, Ohio State over Maryland.
Go take us in the huddle and what you wanted to get done. We said up here that Bruce was probably going to have the ball in his hands, but what were you trying to get with that last, you called the timeout with the last possession?
Yeah, we called the timeout, wanted to get the ball in his hands and give him an alley to get to his right. They went zone. Looked like they were trying to shift maybe zone to man. And then I think they stayed zone. And great players step up and make big-time plays. And Bruce and I have been talking. He's been in this situation a lot in his career. And after the last one, I told him coming off the floor, I said, the next one's going in. I'm coming back to you, and the next one's going in. And sure enough, man, he did it.
How about the way your team was able to play defense late in the game, Jake?
Thought our defensive toughness, especially there in the later part of the second half, was really good. Listen, we saw how dynamic they are, right? And we didn't do a good enough job in our ball screen coverage and covering the short roll. That's what they do really well. We made some adjustments. Thought we did a good job on the glass. there at times, and then came up with the big rebounds down the stretch and the stops.
It's the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with the sound of freshness, the sound of sizzle, the sound of savings. With new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items, deals for days on over 1,000 items throughout the store, plus weekly sales and My Perks for even more savings at the pump. Surround yourself with savings every time you shop at your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Come into your local AAA Car Care Plus and save $90 on select sets of Ford Continental tires. Only at AAA Car Care Plus locations. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer ends February 15th. See store for details.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
The Dallas Mavericks beat the Boston Celtics 127-120 last night at the TD Garden. Dallas is going to return to the American Airlines Center tomorrow to play Houston. It'll be the first home game since trading Luka Doncic last weekend. After Thursday's win in Beantown, Klay Thompson says he doesn't expect the warmest welcome.
Probably a lot of heartbreak amongst the fans, probably some boos. But as a professional, you got to embrace everything and remember, we're paid to play this game and perform at the highest level, so I don't know what to expect. I know Luka was so dear to every Mavs fan's heart, but we just got to win and do it on a consistent basis and give ourselves a chance to win the whole thing, and that, I think, will alleviate all the fans' pain and anger. So it's going to be weird, but that's what we signed up for.
Someone's got to replace the batteries in a
smoke
detector, it sounded like. Protests are expected to be held at the arena Saturday before tip. On the TNT broadcast of last night's game, Allie LaForce says Jason Kidd is concerned about the fans' reaction.
Kidd told us just moments ago he believes Anthony Davis does have the shoulders to carry this load. One big concern, though, is just the safety of the players, the front office. Going back to Dallas, we hope fans make the wise decision and remember that this is a game and that lives are far more important.
A GoFundMe to put up billboards criticizing both general manager Nico Harrison and the Adelson family. Those were put up, and the GoFundMe has raised $40,000 for those billboards. Thing or not a thing?
Well, that's a dumb waste of money. So, am I to believe that there is a genuine feeling that the Mavericks fans in Dallas are going to cause violence? Choose violence over this?
At least cause a ruckus.
Is this what we're thinking? Like, the Allie LaForce report was wild. Like, that's, I don't know. I don't sense it's, you're heartbroken, you get it, but it's been a few days. I think you'd have time to kind of reflect on it. That's pretty wild, what LaForce reported there on TNT.
So I do know that when the Jackets played there on Sunday against the Stars, there were people outside of the building protesting the trade. Then I don't know, they're going to take action against the players, though? I'm not sure what Jason Kidd is worried about. Are they just going to riot inside the arena when Luka comes back? That's kind of
Luke is not even coming back. Like, this is just the Mavericks playing there.
Yeah, I mean,
they're going to boo Jason Kidd, and they're going to boo Nico Harrison, the general manager, but I don't think they're going to boo like Kyrie Irving or Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean, it's not any of the players' fault. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe they know something we don't know.
Yeah, it is Texas.
The NHL trade deadline is Thursday, March 7th. It'll be at 3 o'clock Eastern time. During the second intermission of last night's game between Columbus and Utah, general manager of the Jackets, Don Waddell, gave some insight into their deadline plans.
It's interesting. There's 22 teams watching our team tonight, so I'm trying to wonder why they're all here. But, we'd like to add a little bit right now, especially up front, because we're so banged up. And, we're not going to give up a top pick, for a rental player, that's for sure. But if there's a player that's either got term left or a player that we think fits into what we're trying to do here that, we can reasonably get for, one of our picks. The nice thing is we have the plethora of picks right now over the next 3 years. So, that's what we got them for, to try to improve our hockey team. So we're looking at it. We got some games. I think we got 6 or 7 games before the final March 7th trade deadline. So we'll assess it. There's no panic because the way these guys have proved, but we would like to, if possible, add a forward or so.
Thing or not a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think all those two know. Evison and Waddell is just ask him a question, get a direct answer. So I think he told you the real truth there. I know we do that on Tuesday, but I think he told you the real truth. They are operating from a position of strength. They have performed higher than most of us thought that they would perform. It sure would be fun to track down a playoff, but he is not going to put his organization's future at any risk to do so. So they're in a position where if something great comes across his desk, he can act on it. He has the assets to act on it, but he's not going to pursue it. So I like the spot they're in.
It was funny, the first part of that, he talked about all the scouts there last night. I texted both of you while at the game and said, I've never seen this many scouts at a game while I've been here. It was easily double, maybe more than that, the amount of scouts that have been there so far this year. Now, some of those scouts might have been looking at Utah players as well. But I will disagree with you a little bit here as far as I think he is looking for it. I don't think it's going to be something that falls in their lap. I think he is actively pursuing, maybe even aggressively pursuing, a move that could help this club in the future and maybe something that could help them short term. I think things have switched here, and I think he is out there looking. He might be the one making calls.
We played a little bit of this yesterday, but Rob Ryan had his introductory press conference earlier this week as USC's assistant coach out in Los Angeles. Here's more from the eldest Ryan brother from earlier in the week.
And I saw the Mayava guy. I coached his uncle. I hated that kid when I first saw him. A USC kid, a little captain. Remember, he could walk under this table right here. Little guy. We draft this little runt. I'm like, oh, man. This guy, I was all over this kid during the OTAs. Sweet Life has going on vacation with the family, going out to Hawaii, going to Maui. I've never been to Maui. I run things in Oahu, but I'm going to go to Maui. He's like, hey, Rob, you get in any kind of trouble now, you just tell him you know Kalooks. I'm like, man, yeah, I'm going to tell him I know Kalooks. Get the hell out of here. Walk out there, do the usual. Got me and the wife there. Oh, we're going to have a romantic evening. Go out there. No rent-a-car. What do you mean? You never called for the rent-a-car? I told you she's Greek. I'm like, yeah, they must have lost it. So, of course, I forgot to call. Now they're out of cars. I'm in Maui. I got no car. So what do? I know Kalooks. I got a car. Oh, you know Kalooks? Swear to God, hand to God, true story. I got a van. I'm like, yeah, Kalooks, my man. Anyway, I ended up loving the kid. He was, oh man, is he mean as a rattlesnake. And there was a reason why that kid was captain with all those first-round draft choices. I love that guy. Ended up, looks can be deceiving.
Thing or not a thing?
I said this yesterday when we played some of it. Like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on with the guy, but he felt like he was under the influence of something during this, because this was, folks, we've played a little bit of it and a little bit of it yesterday. Like, it's a lot of it. It's a lot of that. And I don't know what would make Lincoln Riley think that I should trot him out there before having – it was crazy. It's really crazy.
So I've always thought the Ryan brothers kind of looked like comedian Ron White. And that whole situation there, it was like he was performing a stand-up. He was walking around. You could hear the volume changing. He's hitting his arms. He's smacking on things. It was just insane. And all of that there, he's talking about USC quarterback Jaden Maeva's uncle, who he used to coach. It was insane.
Yes. Yeah, it truly was. I don't know. Nuts. Final hour of the week coming up. What did we learn this week? We'll get the Philly side of the Super Bowl. Doug Lesmerises at 11:30. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And though I generally talk about medicine and effective treatments for erectile dysfunction and other men's sexual health issues, today I want to talk about love. Because love is the best reason to get treated for your ED. You see, ED can cause major relationship issues. In fact, men often push their partners away when ED becomes a problem. The condition can cause depression, arguments, breakups, and even contribute to divorce. But the good news is that if you're like most men suffering with ED, you can be successfully treated at Tri-State Men's Health and put a stop to the relationship stresses that ED can cause. I say this with all confidence because we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Truly, it's likely you'll find you're performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and get the love back in your life. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Super Bowl 59 is Sunday in New Orleans. The Chiefs are 1.5 favorites over the Eagles. Kickoff from the Caesars Superdome is 6:30. We'll have the big game on The Fan with coverage Sunday following Ohio State basketball. Jake Diebler's squad is at Nebraska, looking to go one game over 500 in Big Ten play. Buckeyes and Cornhuskers go Sunday at 2 o'clock. Ohio State beat number 18 Maryland last night 73-70 at the shot. Bruce Thornton hit a go-ahead bank-in 3 with 7 seconds left for the win. Buckeyes 6-6 in the conference, 14-9 overall. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets have one more game before a 2-week break for the Four Nations face-off. CBJ are going to host the Rangers tomorrow night at 7. Jackets fell on home ice last night to the Utah Hockey Club 3-2 in overtime. They pick up a point in the loss and are one back of the Red Wings for that second wildcard spot in the East. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Let's see. High school, Buckeyes, Browns, kids in the retention pond. It must be Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Football is good. The Fan. When General Sherman marched through Georgia, he was listening to this show.
Use your skills for good, young warrior.
This is Bishop and Friends.
Final hour here on the final Football Friday of the season. Hear from some of the Eagles players and coaches on their process heading into Super Bowl 59 coming up in about 17 minutes from now. Doug Lesmerises is going to join us at the bottom of the hour at 11:30. First time we've talked to Doug in a little minute, so look forward to his conversation with everything in regard to the changes Ryan Day has made to his staff. Let's hit it with a little bit of what we learned this week.
We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
I think the kind of overwhelming feeling as I was looking back on the week was something that Paul said when he joined us yesterday when we talked a little bit with him about Ryan Day's extension. And he said, boy, we've come a long way since the end of November. And yeah, you sure have. And I think what you saw this week from Ryan Day, not only with Ohio State responding to Coach Day by giving him a contract extension through 2031, making him the highest paid coach in all of college football, but also what Ryan did with his staff. Remember, we started this week with Chip Kelly taking the job with the Las Vegas Raiders, Justin Fry at the end of last week taking the job in Arizona. And so we opened this week with a new offensive staff needing to be filled. Ryan Day filled it. And the idea of winning a national championship gives you the chance to fill it in a different way than he filled a year ago. Last offseason was an all chips are in approach, not just with roster, not just with portal, not just with National Signing Day, but most especially with coaching staff. When Ryan Day made the change at defensive coordinator and went out and sought out Jim Knowles, he looked for someone with a incredible treasure trove of knowledge and experience to flip this defense. And guess what? It worked. When it came time for him to give up play calling, he went in the way of, give me the most experienced people that I can trust, people who have done this job and even bigger jobs than this. Not even talking about coordinator, I'm talking about head coach, like running NFL teams. Bill O'Brien was essentially the de facto coach and general manager of the Houston Texans. Chip Kelly was basically that in Philly when he first got that job. So to give up the reason you got the job, he had to find somebody that he could trust absolutely to be able to do it. This time around, with the idea that you've won a national championship, you can do things a little bit different. And so you can go a little bit younger. We had the stat this week about how the age of the coaches on the staff, it's a bunch of young pups out there. And so the elevation of Brian Hartline to offensive coordinator, a position he's had before, but now with the idea and the understanding, we haven't heard anything from Coach Day on this, but with the understanding that he's going to call plays, that's a dramatic difference than where we were a year ago at this time. And the dramatic difference and the reason for that difference is the fact you win the national title. There's a grace period. There's a learning curve that will now be understood. This is a roster that is going to have to replace a ton of veteran, experienced players. It is a roster that's going to have to put a redshirt freshman or sophomore, whatever we're going to call Julian Sayin, provided he wins the job, going to have to put him consistently in the best position to succeed for you to have a chance. So, to me, when I think of this week, I think of this is the Ryan Day empowerment Buckeye phase we're in now. This is Ryan Day, one of the most powerful people in all of college football, doing exactly what he wants with his staff, committing to be here through 2031 with this contract where he'll be richly compensated. And this is him doing things exactly the way that he wants. It tickled me to see him and his wife at the Blue Jackets game last night. I thought that was awesome. He is going to be our guy for a long time now, and he is now, because of this national championship, he's able to have some guys who can kind of learn on the job a little bit. Now, you lose 3 games in September, and that's all going to change. But for now, at least, this can be a very different approach, and that's the thing that jumped out to me most about the week.
You saying there's a chance the Bobbies could get the Buckeyes when they come in here week 3?
No.
The Bobbies.
The media tour, that's the embrace of a media tour. Like you talk about Ryan Day and how he was on Jimmy Fallon and Kelly Clarkson and everybody's podcast, and then he's at the Blue Jackets game. Just the media embrace that organization has had since Ryan took over from Urban is an incredible change of pace. Mm-hmm. I mean, it felt like with what you get from this Ohio State, opening the fire hydrant. Anytime. Yeah. And even Jake Diebler from the basketball side was on with the Juicers this week. To that point about the media blitz, Joe Burrow, Myles Garrett, we have not seen premier players like that do the kind of media blitz at a Super Bowl radio row, putting the pressure on an organization to do either deals with other players or a deal with that player in a long time. Ever, maybe. And it's been fascinating from a Browns fan standpoint. I'm glad he's doing it, but fascinating to see from a Bengals standpoint how now the premier player of that franchise, maybe in its history, is putting pressure on them on such a stage where he's going on FS1 morning shows. He's going on with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN. And it might not be done for those guys, as we've still got a day of Radio Row in the Super Bowl and then the 2 days leading up to Sunday's kick.
It's interesting, Bo, that you talked about the Ohio State coaching staff in the age, because that's what I was thinking, that college football is a young man's game now. I know Bill Belichick came back to coach this year, and we'll see how that goes at North Carolina. But for the most part, your experienced elder head coaches, seems like they really don't want a part of college football anymore. They want to head to the National Football League and not deal with the chaos that is college football. Ohio State's new offensive staff, only one guy over the age of 38. I mean, that's unheard of. I mean, 38, you maybe just worked your way into a coordinator position back in the day. Maybe. And you were like a coaching prodigy then. So college football right now at the coaching level is a young man's game. It sure seems like. I mean, there's only 3 that have won a national championship.
Yeah, I mean, although Belichick's young at heart, you saw his girlfriend last night.
Whew. Good for him.
He's doing well for himself.
God bless. Oh, jeez.
Speaking of well-compensated, she has to be, in the end, going to be well-compensated, right?
Armando Salguero, I think, had the tweet of the night I saw last night. He goes, I wonder if either one of them thinks it's love. Which I thought was funny. That was very, very good.
What else would it be?
Yeah. Reese, you talked about the player empowerment. We touched on that a little bit off the top of the show and what's trying to be done in the NFL. We've never seen that. You've never seen that. You've never seen a guy under contract with a team for 2 more years go down to Super Bowl Media Row and then walk around and talk to, quite honestly, anybody who wanted to talk to him. I mean, Miles did, it felt like he did 6 or 7 different media outlets, kind of reiterating his choice. The ability to trade him is so... I take him at their word. They have no interest in trading him. They've made that abundantly clear. But even the idea of trading him is so difficult because of what they do with the restructures. When you restructure those guys, part of the idea there is they're very difficult to trade. Like, that's one of the main drawbacks of it, is they're very difficult to trade. So the dead cap hit on Miles is like $37 million if they're to trade him. Now, they could trade him with a post, I want to say, June 1 designation, and then it's less of a hit at that point. But anything before that would be just a massive hit for them. So, yeah, you would say that Joe Burrow and Myles Garrett are the 2 best football players that play for professional sports teams in the state of Ohio that play football. And both of them doing Media Row and putting feet to the fire of ownership in very different ways. Joe saying, hey, let's keep all these guys. Myles saying, I'm out. What's more likely, Myles Garrett being traded or Joe Burrow and the Bengals keeping all of them?
Myles being traded.
Yeah, I think that's easily Myles being traded.
Bengals aren't keeping all of them.
I'm not sure the Browns have any other option in this.
They do.
Well, they do. They can keep him. I mean, he's under contract. Like, they can play that game if they want.
But I don't think that benefits them.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, to me, I think, like, you went 3-14 with him. So, to me, I would be in asset accumulation mode right now. Miles is 29. Like, I understand that you want him to be your Joe Thomas, and he's there his entire career. I get that, but just me speaking from an asset accumulation standpoint, I would certainly listen. Some of the numbers that are thrown out there, I don't know if you'd get 2 1s. You might get 1 and a couple of 2s and a 3. Maybe get 2 1s. To me, I listen to all of that if I'm them, because they have a lot. They don't have. It's not like the roster is completely diluted of talent. It's not that at all. But you could get a massive talent injection with that deal. And I think, to me, you have to listen to that a little bit, all of those things. But no, we've never seen those type of things happen before, where you had guys doing that. And Burrow putting the Brown family on notice too. Like, cap keeps going up, guys. Let's find a way here. We've never seen that. I mean, we have seen quarterbacks go the media route to pressure ownership to spend or to keep their guys, to go to bat for their guys. Joe had a list Yeah, Jamar T, Hendrickson, even had Mike Gesicki in the list. Do all of these things, guys. I just don't know how Cincinnati does it without private equity with ownership, buying in part of ownership. They need an influx of cash. Restructuring Burrow's contract means you have to put it into escrow. You have to have straight cash, homie. And if you believe, you take them at their word, they don't. And that's a whole other thing for Bengals fans. I don't know if they know that or not. Speaking of Cincinnati, we did learn this week that we're going to be the radio home of Cincinnati Reds. So that's a win.
So you get some baseball in there. Also that only the Dodgers can operate like the Los Angeles Dodgers. You heard the comments.
Why can only they?
No, everybody else is poor. Hal Steinbrenner said that they just can't possibly compete with all of the spending. And then
John Henry's poor with the Red Sox?
Well, they just can't compete with the kind of money that the Dodgers are spending. So it's hard out there, man, for these billionaires.
The Yankees are crying foul that they don't have enough money?
Yankees are crying it louder than anybody else. Yeah.
The Mets? Nobody's got any money?
You know, you feel bad for some of these billionaires. You really do. Pulls at the heartstrings in a way that I don't think anything else could, really.
You can't afford it. Sell the team, man. There's a lot of people who'd like to buy the New York Yankees.
Bo, you know what else I learned yesterday? I learned that the YouTube chat blows up when we talk about food. Because I've never seen it go crazy like it did yesterday when we were talking about Super Bowl food.
Oh yeah. That's kind of an old you're learning, young Jedi. You're learning. You start doing snacks and people get fired up. I got to go today. I got to figure out which. I like to have 6 to 8 different appetizer snacks to choose from. So I got to kind of get that list down. I quizzed the boys. Give me your top 5. They all gave me their 5s. So I think we're in good shape on a lot of it. But that'll be the task tonight because I got hoops all weekend. So that'll be the one chance probably this afternoon to be able to knock all that stuff out. All leading into Super Bowl 59. It is the Chiefs. It is the Eagles. Can the Eagles play the role of spoiler and validate really one of the best run football operations in all of the National Football League? That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction. And if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Tri-State Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings on hundreds of items every time you shop. With new low prices, deals for days, weekly sales, and My Perks at your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
Only one football game left this season makes me sad. But watching that last game at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus makes me very happy. Scotty Vegas, and we're throwing a super watch party for the big game February 9th. Reserve your table at HollywoodColumbus.com. Come early for a live sports betting show at 5. Stay for the game with prizes and prop contests. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older to enter. See you at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook for a Super Sunday.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We are your sons and daughters. Our service is providing us valuable job skills, and it pays up to 100% of our tuition. We're proud to serve our state. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When you leave a job, don't leave your 401k. Grow your investment without the fees associated with 401k plans. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Hi, Bob Mashuter back with a huge message for 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford is offering the biggest deals in a decade to kick off the new year. How about new Broncos for up to $16,000 off? New F-150s up to $11,000 off? And up to $12,000 off of Super Duties. If you resolve to save money this new year, then don't wait and grab your new Ford to kick off an awesome 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford. Closed Sundays because it's the right thing to do. But 24/7 at mashuterford.net.
Most radio stations suck. Here's why. They don't invest in local programming. We're live and local 14 hours a day. You can rest assured that every stupid thing we say is 100% local. Homegrown, dumb since day one. The Fan.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
Black history is American history, and when we have honest conversations with our students about our history, the good and the bad, we can pave the way to make a better future for everyone. This Black History Month, let's lift up our students' freedom to learn and come together to celebrate the many people who have shaped our communities.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association. February is Children's Dental Health Month, so make sure you make an appointment for your child to visit an Ohio Dental Association member dentist. ODA member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and have access to superior ongoing education and training. On your next visit, ask if your child's dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit ODA.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Tracking the sunshine out there today. High temperatures will be around 35. Increasing clouds tonight, and it is cold with a low of 26. We are tracking the chance of some freezing rain heading into your Saturday. Impacts will be worse between about 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, this is what I'm settling on after talking to the boys. Beamsy wants nachos. He had a very specific nachos asked. He wants nachos with gooey cheese and light salsa. So that's his ask. NBC wants the Totino's pepperoni rolls. Like he want, of course. That's a gimme. Have those ever not won?
No.
Have you ever run?
Those are undefeated.
They will burn the top of your mouth off.
That's part of the experience.
I agree. I think it's part of it. You just suck it up. It's kind of like sucking down French onion soup. If you ever order that at a restaurant and they deliver it to you and they're like, oh, yeah, it's really hot. And you're like, how hot can it be? And then you have a bite and you go, oh, it's going to singe the inside of my mouth off. That's how hot it's going to be. So he wanted pepperoni rolls. And then Bootsy wanted cheese and crackers. So I'm going to turn that into a little bit of a charcuterie. We're going to do the pizza rolls. We will do the nachos. We'll get that done. We're going to do a veggie spread for sure. Got to do a veggie spread so there's some sort of vegetable in there. So we'll do a little bit of that. I'll probably do an onion dip. I like the dark russet potato chips on that. So I'll go with a beefy onion dip. I use the Lipton beefy onion into the sour cream, and then I go the chips on top of that, actually making my mouth water. And then we'll have to have two things ordered. Number one ordered will be some sort of a wings combo, probably going to do some sort of a wings delivery, and then we will probably also do a big sub variety pack delivery.
Are the wings boneless or bone-in?
Well, one is a chicken nugget and the other's a wing.
Sure.
So as long as we acknowledge that, I'm going to get a lot of hell for this. I'm going to be honest with you. Give me the saucy nugs. The wing. Maybe it's just like having to watch my kids try to suck down a wing. It's such a mess. It gets all over their faces. The nuggets, I understand it's not, it's ground chicken. I get it. I understand how a nugget is made. But at the same time, it feels like you're getting a similar experience with much less work and mess. Where do you guys sit on wing versus boneless wing?
I'm a bone-in guy.
Yeah.
But I understand that
You're a grown man.
There are moments where if you're not trying to clean off your fingers or hands, a boneless is perfectly acceptable.
So I am usually someone who does not like to get messy while I eat. So when I go to a fun casual joint like we are going to tonight, a lot of times I will get the chicken fingers. And I will eat those rather than, but there are some times when I'm just like, man, I want some wings. But usually I like to avoid the mess.
I do feel, and I don't know if anybody else has this, where you just want to tear apart a chicken wing. Like you can get real feral with it.
Well, yeah, I think there's a little bit of medieval times that comes out of you.
Nature versus nurture lodge.
You kind of get a little bit of that. Do you know, I did not have the first chicken wing I had in my life, I was into my 20s. Like there was no.
Was
like,
it at
change.
Hooters?
It was at Hooters.
I was just trying to put together where you were.
Yeah, it was it was. I want to say it was on Meridian in Tallahassee was where I had it. No, I'd never had wings. There weren't wing joints in Montana when I was a kid. They weren't something that were on. I don't even remember, honestly, like a sports bar in Montana when I was a kid. I don't remember that at all. So I had no point of reference on wings. The first experience I had was indeed at the Hooters in Tallahassee.
It's funny because I was late in life into wings too. I want to say I was in high school. I don't remember how old I was, but it was when the Fun Casual joint first opened up in town over on Broad Street. And that was the first time that I ever had wings was there. I will say this. I am so excited after our conversation yesterday on Super Bowl food.
I'm hungry.
To make buffalo chicken and maple bacon smokies tomorrow. I am pumped.
What do you do with the maple bacon smokies? You wrap those suckers up, and then what are you doing?
Yeah, so you cut like a pack of bacon into like thirds.
Okay.
And then you wrap the smoky, and then you mix up some brown sugar, maple syrup, and some cayenne pepper.
Yep.
And brush that on those, and then you bake them, and man, they are delicious.
This conversation about wings is the most unified I've ever seen our listeners. Because
they want the normal wings, right? They don't want the chicken nuggets.
No, they're okay with both. I think there's so much agreement that it's actually surprising me how they're like, yes, traditional bone-in wings, but also there are times I'm not trying to clean up every 5 minutes.
I'm just telling you, if you have a kid, even at NBC's 13, and it's tough for Beamsy's the cleanest kid I got by 100 miles, like the one who pays the closest attention, like hygiene, all of it, and he is a struggle. He had wings last night. He ordered wings for dinner last night. It was trying to suck him down. I could tell like his frustration on how to do it. And then with the flats, he doesn't know what he's doing. Like he doesn't eat the middle of the flat. I'm like, you got to tear that sucker apart, man. And then you're able to get all that meat. He's loving it for granted. I'm like, next time, let's go boneless. The other thing that really frustrates you if you have a kid on the wing, on a standard wing thing is most places now, Hooters does do this, and I'm sure the Fun Casual joint and many others do too. Or I guess I haven't been to Hooters in 20 years. I don't know if they still do it or not. But if they do, they used to have the wet naps. You got to have.
Roosters does that.
You can get them, yeah.
Of course, Fun Casual. You cannot expect people to have hands or face clean with something dry if you're eating wings. It doesn't work. It does not work.
Dude, our guy Nick on the YouTube, I love this. My first wings were at the Ponderosa Buffet, and man, did that just bring back memories.
The Ponderosa Buffet. That's from your youth? I got no point of reference on the Ponderosa.
There's actually still one in town over on South High Street that you can go to. I remember, man, that was when they were doing the sirloin tips with the buffet. Oh my goodness, that was good eats. That was good eats when you were young.
Get out there and live, boys. Yeah, that's good. I'll have to add buffalo chicken because we're going to have that in the mix as well. So that's kind of the layout for Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday. I cannot wait until Monday's the day off, till they get one more week in this schedule and you get it up to President's Day and you get Monday off because it does stink to like have all of the fun on a Sunday and then have to race it back and go to school and work and everything else, school for the kids. The Eagles are trying to play the role of spoiler. They've been in this a lot. It's the third time. I think if you go back, since Jeffrey Lurie has owned the Philadelphia Eagles, you could make an argument that they've been the model franchise. And the reason that I think you can make that argument is they have not had a bunch of franchise quarterbacks. This isn't the run that the Patriots had where you had Brady and then that makes everything else work. This isn't Kansas City with Mahomes. It's not Manning with the Colts. Like, they've had a bunch of different guys. They had McNabb early in that ownership's tenure and had a nice run with him, but then they pivoted, had Michael Vick for a little while, won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, drafted Carson Wentz, didn't take, and now this is the second Super Bowl appearance for Jalen Hurts and this version of the Philadelphia Eagles. Howie Roseman's kind of the one constant, and it's been the ownership. Those two things. They've just found a way, and then they got Saquon Barkley at a bargain basement deal. It's crazy that they were able to add him to this team. Let's hear from Jalen Hurts on what he has to do Sunday to get the win for the Birds.
There's no secret. It's just who I am, and my mentality and my approach is always to find ways to better myself, and it's always looking internal first, and then looking at my teammates and how I can better the guys around me as well. So, I've always been focused on what I'm asked to do and can I do it at a high level, and then also processing the way that I'm being taught to see the game and then how I already see the game, and then obviously you have that burning desire to win. So all of those things are a priority to me.
Nick Sirianni played collegiately at Mount Union up in Alliance, Ohio. He is trying to get his first Super Bowl. Remember, he was emotional during the national anthem the last time they played a classic game. Doesn't care how they win so long that they do.
We don't really care how we win. We just want to win. And so if that means throwing it 50 times and running it once, well, AJ and Devontae and Dallas, that's going to be good. And if it's vice versa, they're so selfless, they're going to catch a big-time block that's going to help change the game.
50 times?
It's a lot.
It's bold.
It's a lot.
Bold strategy.
Give him a chance. You guys give him a chance?
Yeah. Yeah, I like the fact that the Chiefs are a 1.5 favorite. I think this is a similar game in terms of margin that the Chiefs will, I think, win by, but I think it is a higher. I think it could be higher scoring because you give the Eagles a home run threat.
They certainly do. They have that. They have the better roster, Bake. It's just going to come down to, can they manipulate the game? For me, it's going to come down to, can they manipulate the game so that Mahomes doesn't have the ball last?
Yeah, it sure seems like that. I mean, player for player, they probably do. Man, Saquon Barkley has just transformed that team to me. Yeah. He's just so dynamic, not only with his ability to run the ball and be a home run hitter, but also his ability and effectiveness out of the backfield as a pass catcher, and they don't even have to use him very much. It's going to be so interesting to see Steve Spagnuolo and what kind of game plan he comes up with to shut down that aspect of the Eagles' offense.
Yeah, no, it's a hell of a chess match. Should be a great game. I know that we've seen it before, and there's fatigue with these two teams, but I do think the matchup is a great one, and we should get another great game in the Super Bowl, which is what we've had the last 3 times out. Doug Lesmerises in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EXIT25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EXIT25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EXIT25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Your husband is pretty handy to have around. He makes the world's best mac and cheese.
Lunch is ready.
He's in the Tickle Monster Hall of Fame. And he can teach anyone how to throw strikes. But a busted pipe in a basement full of water?
Honey, I think we need a plumber.
Is a little out of his league. That's where a homeowner's policy from Shelter Insurance comes in handy. We'll help get your house back in order and your husband back to what he does best.
Find an agent at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
Well, let's head out on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline for a little chat with our good buddy Doug Lesmerises, Kings of the North, joining us there. Favorite Super Bowl memory for you?
Oh, wow. I've covered one Super Bowl. I covered the Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl when Terrell Owens played on a broken leg.
Yeah,
but
me
it was
too.
in Jacksonville. I was like, this is the Super Bowl. That Super Bowl in Jacksonville. I was like, oh my God, this is the one time I'm ever going to do it. My wife makes Banana Foster's cheesecake squares for every Super Bowl.
Recipe.
That's my favorite memory. Is that okay if it's food? Is it okay if it's food?
I'm going to need that. I need Bananas Foster is my favorite dessert.
Oh my God, it's so good.
There is an ice cream manufacturer out of the state of Michigan that did a Bananas Foster ice cream that is the greatest ice cream I've ever had in my life, but they discontinued it.
No, we'll get to the recipe.
Yeah, so I'm going to need that. I'm going to need that. It's so funny. I was at that Jacksonville Super Bowl as well. It was the third one that I had covered, but I was in Tallahassee at the time, so it was an easy drive over. As soon as you drove in, you're like, oh my God, they have no business doing this.
No, I know. It's no offense to Jacksonville, but what? Yeah.
Just not
it was
built
weird.
for it.
No vibes. Yeah.
No vibes. It was all spread out. Things were at Jack's. It was a mess. Total mess. Was that McCartney? Do you remember? Was he involved? Was Paul McCartney involved somehow in that one?
Yeah. I think that might have been. I think you might be right there. That and Donovan McNabb puked in the game, right? Didn't he puke during the game?
He did.
Those are the big memories of that. So
These are big headliners. This has been quite the week for Ryan Day. And I kind of it's kind of you're Kings of the North. It's kind of we have a king in the North and his name is Ryan Day. I mean, he is this staff is now completely how he wants it to be. It's a much younger staff. Obviously, the pressure of the last off season is gone because you win a national championship, so a learning curve is going to be certainly allowed. What do you make of the comings and goings on the Buckeye staff, and especially what Ryan decided to do offensively?
Yeah, so we did a big show on this on Kings of the North this week about hiring coordinators. And I will say my initial instinct is a place like Ohio State, you really shouldn't ever hire somebody to do something they've never done before. Mm-hmm. That I don't think Ohio State is a learn-on-the-job kind of place, right? That you went and did it at a group of five, and then you did it at a mid-tier Power 4 team, and now you're ready for Ohio State. That seems like somebody to hire. Now, there are exceptions. For instance, the guy who just won the national championship had never been a head coach before. So I can come out with my instinct and say, I don't like this, and then be like, well, here's an exception, a glowing exception. This guy's record is unbelievable. So we went through – the main thing that we arrived on in discussing this is if you are promoting from within with a guy who's never done it before, it's much more advisable and easy to do if it's the same side of the expertise as the head coach. Yeah. So opposite side expertise, Ryan Day to hire a defensive coordinator who's never really done it, that's fraud. That is fraud. But Ryan Day is the backstop for Brian Hartline, who's never called plays. And so, and then the other thing, and not to make this too long, there are exceptions to every rule. Nick Saban in his entire career really only promoted 2 people from within, and the only person he ever promoted to a coordinator job who had never done it before, the only guy, was Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart had been with him at LSU, had been with him at the Dolphins. He was the exception to the rule. Kirby Smart has hired mostly experienced guys. When Mel Tucker left at Georgia, you know, he promoted to be the defensive play caller who'd never done it before, Dan Lanning. So if you're telling me Brian Hartline is the next Kirby Smart, the next Dan Lanning, maybe he's never done it, but he's a star in the making, you can buy that argument, right? But I don't. It's got to be a special guy. Otherwise, I think Ohio State should go get the best man for the job. We have a coordinator opening. Who's the best coordinator in the country? Let's throw money at him. But Hartline very well might be the exception to my rule.
I feel like you're the one who just said he will be Dan Lanning and Kirby Smart. I think you're. That's where
I'm open to it.
I'm open to it. Yeah.
So it's like, how dare they do this? And it's like, well, let's look at the examples when someone did it and it worked. Right now, that's not every time, but sometimes if a guy is special and he's in your building and you know it, it's like, okay, we're going to give this guy a shot. So I'm certainly open to the idea that could be the case here.
I think that it had to be a Bill O'Brien, Chip Kelly type last year. It can be Brian this year. I think the one thing that Ryan has to be careful of is with the way that this sport is right now, I don't think he can go back to a play calling situation. I just don't think there's enough time in the day, in his day, to be able to do it. He can poach in and he can game plan it. You and I have had that conversation with him before he even gave it up to begin with. But I do think if it is Brian and if not now, when? I mean, Brian's been an apprentice under Ryan all these years and then watched Chip firsthand. Like if not now, when? So I do understand that part of it, but I also think Ryan needs to, for lack of a better term, kind of Jesus take the wheel this thing and let Brian do the job. And I do think because they just won the national title, there's a freshman quarterback, that there will be a little bit of a curve here that would not have otherwise been there had they not won the national title.
I also think, and this is a big discussion when Ohio State and Georgia played each other in the semifinal in 22. And I can remember I went back and double-checked the Kirby Smart quote about him. Hey, how much are you involved in defensive play calling? And he said, when I have an experienced defensive play caller, he had Mel Tucker for a while. Mel Tucker, he said, knew that defense inside and out. He was less involved. And then when Tucker left and he promoted Dan Lanning and Glenn Schumann internally to be the co-DCs, Lanning calling it, then he was involved more. So it's not that you're doing it, but if you have a head coach who has the pulse of the team, is the CEO, but knows when I'm needed more, when I'm needed less, I'm not doing it, but I'll help Brian more than I help Chip, all that kind of stuff. I get that too. Like Ryan certainly will be more involved with Hartline than he was with Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that's bad or it's bad for the program or it's impossible. And we all would trust Ryan Day at this point to have the right gauge on that.
Do you think that the defensive hire, which is the one we're waiting on now, and he mentioned Guerreri very glowingly at the national championship celebration. Obviously, Walton's called defenses too in the National Football League. I think Laurinaitis is brilliant. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he would be more than capable of that job. Do you think that if that comes from within, which is what it seems like it's trending towards, isn't it critical? I mean, there's so many new faces on that defense, Doug, for next year. To me, I don't think you want to teach a new language. Do you teach Jim Knowles' language with the current staff, or do you think he goes outside and tries to get somebody with some new, fresh ideas who can come in here?
And this is where, like, my hard and fast rules get murky, right? Because Tim Walton's been a defensive coordinator before. Matt Guerreri's been a defensive coordinator before. So you have a chance to elevate internally with guys like that, have somebody calling the defense who's internal but not inexperienced, not doing it for the first time. The other part of me is, like, I think outside new ideas is good. I think you can get too comfortable, right? Like, we know all these guys. These are my guys. I'm the national champion. We're like, I want my guys around me. Like, I think you can go overboard with that. So to have somebody who's new, somebody with new ideas, somebody who pushes you a little bit in a different direction, I think that can be good. And I do think in general, like, if you're doing something for 1 year, like, oh, it's easier on these players, or we want to hire this guy because we don't want to lose this player, I think you've got to look big picture. So even if you hired outside and it was a little bumpier this year, like, if that's the best person for the job, so be it. So because Guerreri and Walton have both done it, right? That's different. But with all the things I just said, boy, to lose arguably two of the best coordinators in the sport, and your answer is just like the guy. Every answer is like the guy down the hall is going to be just as good.
Yeah,
that is a little iffy for me. I'm not saying it can't work, but I think you can get two external. You hire all a bunch of guys you don't know and don't trust, but I think you can get two internal too. So I'm curious. I'd go outside, but what do I know?
A lot. You're the king of the North. I'll get you out of here on this one. I this week really missed National Signing Day mattering in February because, Doug, I'm a fan of content. And I loved the circus. I loved kids with dogs and hats and all sorts of things. I wasn't crazy about driving to Jeanette, PA, but in the end, like, it added to the story.
We were there, baby. We'll always have Jeanette.
We'll always have Jeanette. Do you miss it? And just, I know it's never going to go back to mattering because they want these kids on campus in January now so often. But do you miss having it in February the way that it used to be?
I mean, it was like the number 2 day of the sport. You know, like there was bowl season, national championship game, and then there was that. I mean, it was draft day. It was the equivalent, Von Bell signing on National Signing Day to Urban Meyer is like that. I think like Ohio State fans be like, I remember where I was when that happened kind of stuff. So I do miss it. I understand why it is the way it is. As everybody has said a million times, why college football has to do its draft and its free agency and its playoff all at the same time in December is nuts. I do think there's a radical calendar shift. Like, what if you just said, no more early enrolling. Let's let these kids finish high school. Like the goal is not to have them practicing in March with let them be normal. We're ending that. You can sign in February. We're ending that. You can't show up until June. Like, why? As long as you make a rule for everybody,
that's it.
Like, what would that hurt? Like, how is that? It's the same for everyone. I don't know. Like, why would that be terrible? But I do miss, like, that was a celebration of college football. In a lot of ways, but obviously what's best for the players is what matters most, and if they can get some certainty in December, then that's good for them.
Selfishly I miss it, I guess. Great talking to you as always, my friend. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you greatly.
Thanks, Bill. Always fun.
All right, there he is, Doug Lesmerises, Kings of the North, joining us on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Get you 3 things on a Friday. Up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on the Fan.
Imagine all the things you dream of under one roof. You're thinking of eBay. Fashion, collectibles, car parts, it's all there. Go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay, things people love.
This Buckeye Football Impact Report is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse. On the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Ohio State football Impact Report.
Well, the recruiting never seems to stop for college football and for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Head coach Ryan Day talks about not only is it important recruiting the players, such as cornerback Devin Sanchez, rated number 1 in many circles, but it's also important to recruit the families.
On the defensive side, Devin and both his parents were very much involved as well. They were excellent during the whole process. Just the overall loyalty there was great. We had a great group of guys from the state of Ohio that stuck together during this whole process because, it just never ends. It just keeps coming at them, recruiters and all the way up until last week. So Eli Lee's family was great. Riley Pettijohn and his mom and dad were great because a lot of it has to do with the parents too, because they meet each other on the recruiting trips and they build relationships, and I think they did a great job of sticking together.
This report brought to you by Safelite Auto Glass on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Libman makes a difference. The Libman Mop Crew is a part of our winning team. The Libman Mop Crew makes sure the hardwood is safe and clean for the players every game at the Schottenstein Center. No matter what kind of flooring you have at your home court, Libman has the tools to keep it clean. Our mops, brooms, and brushes are proudly family made in the USA. Visit Libman.com to see our whole lineup and for a store locator. That's Libman.com. Libman, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
I used to love shooting hoops with my dad, who taught me great lessons beyond the game. He was the one who helped me open my first bank account. He told me credit unions take care of you like a teammate and often have the best rates. That's why I've been a Credit Union of Ohio member for 40 plus years.
Make life more affordable at Credit Union of Ohio. With great rates on savings and loans, Credit Union of Ohio has been trusted by families for generations. Visit cuofohio.org to join today. That's cuofohio.org. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We are your sons and daughters. Our service is providing us valuable job skills, and it pays up to 100% of our tuition. We're proud to serve our state. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
How high is your credit card rate? With rates as low as 9.90% APR, a Visa Platinum credit card from BMI Federal Credit Union is the perfect low-rate card for your wallet. Apply today at bmifcu.org/visa.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, fellas, what do we have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan poll asks, which team wins Super Bowl 59? 57% say the Eagles.
Really? Wishful thinking?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, look, I mean, they're great. These two teams are both great. It's going to be a very... It's more... Is it more likely that the Eagles win the Super Bowl than either team blows out the other?
Yes, I think so.
I think so, too. Yeah, I could see Philly winning a tight game. I see no scenario where either Kansas City or Philly runs away from the other. I just think they're both too good. Seems most likely.
Yeah, the Super Bowl, 57? It feels like this is more of that.
That one was that the one, was that the holding on Bradbury?
At the end of the last one between these two?
It was the last time,
it was James Bradbury that got the penalty called.
Yeah. To me, like, if Philly wins, it will be the way that they beat Brady and the Patriots. Remember, they scored so late that Brady got the ball back, but it was like with 30 seconds and no timeouts. I think that's the only way you beat Mahomes. Like less than not even a minute. I mean, not even less, like less than 30 seconds, no timeouts. Otherwise, I just feel like he's going to get you to a field goal attempt from Butker. Like that just feels like a lock. It's the way they go about their business. All right, let's hit 3 things on a Friday.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number 1 for me. So Bootsy, who is 3rd grade, got braces yesterday. Now, he is the second one in our house. NBC currently has braces. He is 13. So the difference between 13 and 9 is obviously 4 years, and we did not certainly anticipate Bootsy having them at this age, but quite honestly, he needed them. He was pretty confident in his operation through much of the afternoon yesterday and did okay. Got to suck down some smoothies, some mac and cheese, like was pretty good with things. let's just say it didn't go well overnight, as was kind of predicted, and did not go well this morning, to the point that when I saw him this morning, he was going like this, and he goes, I just want to rip him off, by already, 12 hours, and it was pure hate. So I never had them because I just don't think it was the belief of my parents for kids to have braces. But now 2 of my 3 do. My wife also said the orthodontist is they gave us $150 off the second one. I'm like, yeah, I bet they are. I bet they're giving us.
You get a punch card or a discount or something.
Good Lord.
Yeah, my brother had them, and I never had to deal with braces. So thoughts and prayers to all of those currently going through it.
Couple more, you'll get a free buffet.
There you go.
That's right.
Shout out
wings.
to loyal listener Maddie in Los Angeles. He's been listening since a little before 6 o'clock Pacific time.
All right.
Maddie let us know that he really, really, really wanted to hear that Keels call of Bruce Thornton's bank in 3. Well, Maddie, here you go.
13 on the shot clock and a tie game at 70. Thornton now below center circle. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Thornton moves to the right point. Thornton dribbling right to the key. 5 on the shot clock. Thornton throws a 3 right to the key. Banks it in. Bruce Thornton with 7.4 seconds to play. 31 for Bruce Thornton, and Ohio State leading 73-70. How about that?
How about it?
Nice. Beautiful.
Big calls from Paul Keels will never, ever get old. My first thing, my buddy and his bride, Amy, they made it into town last night. They actually beat me to my house. They got there and were waiting for me before I got home from the Blue Jackets game. So it was great to see them. We capped off the night. He had a High Bank bourbon. I had an Eagle Rare, and we caught up a little bit before I had to go to bed. Excited for the shenanigans that are going to come later today and this evening and the rest of the weekend.
Live, but damn it, live. Number 2 for me, I was watching Straight Outta Compton with NBC last night after the Jackets and Buckeye game went final. And we're sitting there, and it gets towards the end, and it becomes obvious that Eazy-E is not healthy. And he goes, well, Dad, what happened to him? And I said, well, he died of AIDS. And he goes, Dad, what's AIDS? And I could not think of anything that would be more jarring or a bigger difference between when I was 13 and that you feared getting that more than anything in the history of the world, to now a 13-year-old doesn't even know what it is, has no point of reference on AIDS and HIV. Think about how far we came with that disease, that they basically got it sorted out. So then I had to explain it. I'm like, well, it was a really big deal in the 80s and early 90s. It was a very big deal. It probably still is now, but obviously they have medications for it. But a 13-year-old didn't even know what it was. Blew my mind.
And, Bo, for guys like you and me that were huge Magic Johnson fans,
oh my God, I cried.
that was insane.
I cried. I thought he was going to be dead in a month, and he's still alive all these years later.
Now him and the Dodgers are ticking off Hal Steinbrenner.
Yeah, how can other teams expect to operate when you've got all of Magic Johnson's money paying for all of these players? It's a shame for the other owners in the league, especially my poverty franchise, the Cleveland Guardians. Some odds I saw earlier today about the first song Kendrick Lamar will perform at the halftime of Super Bowl 59. Humble is currently the leader, plus 115. Not Like Us, plus 210. If you remember, Not Like Us is the famous Drake song where he makes an accusation of a person that I've never heard on another audio track. And Apple says they're going to give him free reign to play all of his songs. So Not Like Us will be played. I'm very interested to see how that thing goes Sunday.
I wonder if he'll bring out like anybody to
Drake.
Perform with him. No, but like any of the Dr. Dre folks, like if any of them will come with him.
Lil Wayne's from New Orleans, so I think that makes the most sense.
There you go.
I haven't had too many in this business, man, that made me feel old moments, but I had one yesterday. So Dom Taberry was here, and he was going out into the lobby to grab Buster Douglas and Jim Johnson because the 35-year anniversary of him knocking Mike Tyson out is coming up at the beginning of next week. And I was like, oh my gosh. 35 years ago, I still remember being 9 years old and watching the news, watching Doug Lesmerises, who has become a great friend and mentor to me, cut live to him at Damon's on Olentangy River Road, and Doug's like, "Oh man, it just happened," and the crowd's going crazy. He shocked the world. Buster Douglas is not, and you were like, "There's no way this happened. He was a 42-1 underdog. This didn't just happen." And that yesterday made me feel old.
Coach and Buster are the best, too, when you see them around. It's absolutely great. Number 3 for me, Beamsy last night. In File Listener Things Kids Say, we're watching the Buckeye basketball game, and obviously the environment got good at the end, but you can see that it wasn't a packed house. And he said, "Dad, what was it like when the Buckeyes were awesome at basketball?" So it's great. So great. When they were like the number one team. Like when they were like the number one team in the country. I said, dude, it was unbelievable. And they'll get there. You can get there again. And I think that was a big win for Jake last night. You're not going to be the number one team in the country in your first year with the program, but it was kind of a reminder of it's been a while since they've been on that level. And and he has no experience of it.
Last night's a win you can build on. I was thinking of food for the Super Bowl, and I was thinking about Stromboli, and Carsoni's on Lane Avenue does it better than anybody. Also interesting, Carsoni's in the men's restroom above one of the urinals has a poster from the Douglas Tyson fight with a ticket stub framed.
That's great.
Oh, that's
great.
awesome.
In Tokyo. Jeez.
Guys, my final thing, speaking of the Super Bowl, Rothman and Ice, they are down there all week, their last day down there. 12:30 today. They're going to have on Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon, a former MVP. I forgot about that, so stay tuned to them.
He certainly is. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. Enjoy your weekend. We're back on Monday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
Oh, the puppies were set. There was a kiss off the glass and some onions from Bruce Thornton as the Buckeyes come away with the huge win over Maryland last night. Bruce Thornton, 17 points in the last 7 minutes. Ohio State somehow covers the 2-point spread with a 3-point win. They were minus 130 on the money line. Total State under 148.5 for your Action Update. I'm Scotty Vegas. The kiss.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle, or the 3 restaurant locations in Gahanna, Grandview, or Westerville. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text CORE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text CORE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text CORE to 200-300. That's CORE to 200-300. CORE to 200-300.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Bats are us. When dreams don't get in, bats are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Bats are us. When dreams don't get in, bats are us.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group.
When you leave a job, don't leave your 401k. Grow your investment without the fees associated with 401k plans. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and yes, I have a new update for you. I know you're thinking one of these weeks I'll put up a goose egg, but not yet. Not with Awaken 180. Another 4.8 pounds down last week with Awaken 180. And if you're following along, it's sure fun for me. 42 pounds in just 8 weeks. Let's put weight aside. I've stopped snoring thanks to Awaken 180. And what does that mean? Happy wife, happy life. Plus, bonus, I wake up feeling great because I'm actually sleeping through the night. Energy levels high, less pain in my knees, and now I'm able to play at the little gym with Willie and throw him up and down and watch him be a crazy man. I know most of these messages talk about how much weight I'm losing, but it's more about what losing weight is making me win in every other area of my life. For the big game this weekend, I'm pumped. Wings, meatballs, adult beverages, everything's still on the table while losing weight with Awaken 180. Let them show you how easy it is and give Awaken 180 a call. 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.